This is HeKnowsHisSport bringing you that heat and that fire. We keeping the foot on the what? On the next. We keeping the foot on the what? On the next. All right, y'all. Let's get on to it, man. Got my boy Lewis Sports Network that's about to show up in the building. Rich is about to show up in the building. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all hit them thumbs up, man. Mr. Vegas, what's up, man? I see Dude Light said first. Hey, he knows his sport. Poggers is in the chat. What's Poggers exactly, Mr. Vegas? Dude, like I said, I don't know. So if you don't know, then why are you even saying that? That's why Mr. Vegas is laughing at you. Salute to you, Mr. Vegas. He said like LeBron James, Kobe Bean Bryant, and Michael Jordan. Nothing wrong with liking all three guys, man. You can like all three. There's no hatred for LeBron James over here. It's just truth telling. We have to sit here and we have to knock them down to the orders that they belong on. When we look at the orders of basketball players, Michael Jordan is number one. I mean, that's bar none. Then after Michael Jordan, we got Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is number two. And then after Kobe Bryant, we got LeBron James. LeBron James is number three. But damn it, the number two is so close to the number one. But we got to call a spade a spade. Jordan got 6 of those things. Kobe got 5. We're going to talk about that. We're definitely going to talk about, the BJ Armstrong mental game that he was talking about between the dichotomy between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. But all of these topics are going to be basically covered when my boy Lewis Sports Network's getting into the building, you know what I'm saying? And Richy Rich. But for right now, what's up, man? How's everybody doing in the chat, man? What's up with everybody in the chat right now, man? You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all hit those thumbs up. We got 4 people watching. We got 2 thumbs up, 1 thumbs down. I mean, come on, man. 4 people watching. What's up, man? Hit those thumbs up, man. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all show support to the channel. Make sure, you know what I'm saying, you guys go out and cop out, you know what I'm saying, a Cash App, you know what I'm saying, show support to your boy, donate to the platform. Make sure you guys super chat, let me know if the super chat button is not working. I see Lewis Sports Network's trying to get in, so let me resend the invite. But in the meantime, while I'm doing that, man, we're going to have to just delve right into it because we just feel like there's a lot going on. LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Ooh, a lot to talk about with that one, man. Hot pocket topic. Who do you guys feel, and I want to know in the comment section, who do you guys feel is the best real MVP between LeBron James and Anthony Davis? Lewis Sports Network, what's up, brother? What's going on with you, man? What's good with you, bro?
What's going on? He knows you can hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, man.
Perfect. I'm just using a new microphone. That's why I'm just oh man. So no, awesome, man. Thank you for having me. I'm doing great. Hope everything is good with you, man. And like Michael Buffett always says, let's get ready to rumble on the He Knows His Sports topics. Let's get on to these topics, man. I'm ready for it, man.
Exactly, man. That's what I'm talking about. That's the energy we needed today. You know what I'm saying? Man, I got my X-Men shirt on, and I got it on for a reason because we about to be X-Men in this damn building. First topic at hand. My boy Lewis Sports Network is showing up, so we're going to hit it hot. We're going to hit it heavy. 2 high-quality brothers, high-quality platform creators hitting you guys on different variations, different sides of the coins. This is a brother that I highly respect. I like his movement. I like what he's about. I like the way he's pushing. I like those live streams. I like the way you're going about your business, man. This is the way you're supposed to when you're doing your thing. So let's get on to the first topic, man. LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Now, in my estimation, Lewis, Anthony Davis is really the true MVP of the Los Angeles Lakers. The guy's leading in damn near close to 90% of the statistical categories for the Los Angeles Lakers. But the other day, and I had put it in a community post late last night, this guy actually blamed himself for the Lakers' woe. I just couldn't stop laughing because I said, you know what? I've seen the safety blankets before with the Los Angeles Lakers. I've seen Kevin Love. I've seen Mario Chalmers. I've seen Dwayne Wade. I've seen Kyrie Irving. I've seen it all, man. Ray Allen, you name it. But one thing that was imminent with those guys is they stood up to LeBron when they needed to stand up to his ass. This guy right here has to be the biggest puppeteer that LeBron James is steering, especially with the fact that he's actually the most dynamic. There's an argument that could be made that he's the most dynamic outside of D-Wade, the most dynamic guy that LeBron James has played with. How can you sit here and blame the Lakers' woes on you when LeBron James is the leader of the team? I thought in basketball, the buck stops with the leader. The buck stops at the top. And if LeBron James is the one that's at the top, if LeBron James says that he's the guy of the team, he deserves to be the NBA MVP, which means most valuable player. He deserves to be the cog. He deserves to be the guy that all the attention should be on him. Then why is Anthony Davis taking blame for something that really he shouldn't take blame for? So really, I want you to shed some light on this, man, and really expound on what the heck is going on with Anthony Davis. And also, I need you to shed some light on this whole 2 for 20 that you was telling us about, because the truth of the fact of the matter is this guy right here is looking like the weakest, the safety blanket that we've seen that LeBron James is paired with. So what's up, Lewis, man? Let us know what's going on, brother.
All right. So once again, thank you for having me. He knows, and again, salute to everybody that's in the chat. Buddy, man. There's a lot to cover on this one. All right. Here's my thing with Anthony Davis. Shout out to those who say I look like AD, even though I don't, but that's your prerogative. But
Trying to do, brother.
I'd say more CP3, but I digress. Anyway,
Okay.
getting back to AD though. So the way I see it is that AD is taking responsibility. This is just from the way that I see it, and I understand that I don't see him. He's not an alpha. So let's make that very clear. He's a guy who could put up big numbers, but let's face it, when it comes to really taking over the game, which is what the Lakers are trying. Well, I should say really more so LeBron is trying to do to prop him up.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it, man, but it's just it's spelling like a recipe for disaster, to be honest with you. And then the thing is, you got to also understand this. I can understand that he's taking responsibility. He's taking responsibility. So I understand that when he says that he has to play better. So that's somebody who's taking responsibility. It's crazy how he's taking responsibility, but he's somebody who's not going to lead your team. We're in a wings league. He's a big man, and the big men are not going to lead you to a title. But then you have to ask yourself, if he's the one that says that he has to play better, because I don't understand how LeBron can then come out. And like I said, this is with all due respect, because I've already told you, Ron, and like I said to everybody who may agree or disagree with me, whatever the case may be, okay? I got him in my top 10, in the lower tier. I'm not talking about middle high, whatever. But my point is, Mr. LeBron James came out the other day when he was playing poorly, and he complained about the lighting in the bubble. I had to laugh my ass off and almost felt like I had to spit my coffee at the screen when I heard this buffoonery, or should I say the buffoonery of nonsense, because LeBron James, you were the one that asked for this probably more than any other player. Yeah, there were players who were pushing for this, but you more than anybody, because you know why? Let's take the receipts and go back now.
Mm-hmm.
Once this pandemic first started, and I said this in many streams ago, Victor Oladipo and James Harden came out and said that they would not play an arena without no fans. LeBron James followed suit and said that he would not play an arena without NBA fans. Exactly. Less than a month later, once he realized that a championship was at stake, especially because we know that the conversation is gonna go into the last dance. Once he knew that, and by the way, I have to go back on that receipt too, because he also was one of the lead people pushing for the Last Dance documentary to come out. So then my point is, you did all this, then you come out and say, if I don't get a championship, I'm never going to have closure. These are the words that came out of his mouth. Y'all could go check. Y'all could go to YouTube. Y'all could go search it. Type in LeBron is looking for closure. There's multiple videos on it. Multiple. This is not something that I'm making up. I've seen them already. The thing is with LeBron, you got to have receipts because he's a walking contradiction, or should I say contradiction, because that's what he does. And people don't notice that. I'm not trying to hate on this guy saying he's not a great player. I've said this a million times. Like, how many more do I have to say it? You got to ask yourself, if you have people in the media plants every single day telling you that you're the greatest of all time, that you're the greatest player in the game, you know, that you're in year 17 and 35, because we get told year 17 every single day. People, you got to start and stop. Think about this for a second, man.
Mm-hmm.
Think about this for 1 second. How great are you if you're this insecure, that we have to be reminded every single day that you're the greatest of all time? Don't tell us, man. Just show us. And he's taking advantage of the social media era. So yeah, give kudos to LeBron because he's taking advantage of it because he knows how to manipulate the minds of the people out here in these NBA streets. So that's what he's doing. So Anthony Davis, we knew he was the puppeteer master from day number one because as great as AD is and the numbers he can put up, LeBron knew that he needed a guy like that because, listen, you need players to win championships, okay? It's a team game. Your players are as dynamic, and as HeKnows was saying, you could arguably say that he's arguably the most dynamic player that LeBron's ever played with, probably other than Dwayne Wade, especially with the fact that Dwayne Wade's a winner and all that kind of stuff. But my point is, you can't. You and Magic Johnson, which is why, listen, as great as Magic is, that dude is a snake. And I trust me, I've known Magic and watched his career enough to know what a snake that Magic is. This dude puts a smile on TV and he puts a front like this guy is all laughy, smiley. Trust me, Magic Johnson is a low-key snake. And I've never trusted that dude when it comes to certain narratives. He likes to control the narrative too. And that's what I said to LeBron in more ways than one. People don't realize that LeBron is more comparable to Magic in similar traits. And I'll be making a future video on that. But so getting back on that, my point is he lobbied for Anthony Davis and they didn't get it because they put it all over the media. So now during a Staples Center game, this is where my Applebee's 2 for $20 comes in now when I put this into play. After the game, Anthony Davis looked like he wasn't even interested. Everybody has come out and said, well, Anthony Davis, he forced himself out of LA. I can agree with that. I can agree with that to a certain extent. But what was his influence? You cannot tell me that Anthony Davis thought about that on his own. Because there's moments in this season where Anthony Davis has come out with some slick comments, or you make it seem like, okay, maybe AD can really think on his own. But let's be real. Who is his agent? Rich Paul. Who is Rich Paul under? LeBron James. So even if Rich Paul is making all the moves, who is telling him the stuff behind the scenes? And it's LeBron James at the end of the day. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. LeBron is the mastermind of what's going on in this operation. So so my thing is, if LeBron is the greatest as people claim that he is, why is it that you went out to go get Anthony Davis? If you're the greatest, as you always say, and I'm not saying that you don't need help. So people don't get it twisted. Every great player has needed help. But my point is, why is it for some reason that LeBron needs these players, just like the time that he went back to Cleveland with Kyrie Irving? Because people have said, well, Kyrie's never made the playoffs without LeBron, but people just stick to that narrative. My thing is, why did LeBron go back to Cleveland knowing Kyrie was there, knowing that he just got blitzkrieged by the San Antonio Spurs? And people have yet to answer that question when I ask him that all the time. So with Anthony Davis, he got puppeteered because, again, the influence was, oh, yeah, you could come here, you'll be a huge star. Everybody will know who you are. And the funny thing is, AD was making a name down there in New Orleans. It's just, again, it's a small market. But he had talent. He only made the playoffs 2 times in 7 years. Funny how they always mention that. And I agree, it's true, because AD hasn't really accomplished anything. But why is it that you went after him? And now you're trying to make him into this fourth quarter scorer. You already know that he doesn't like physicality. And I've noticed in the bubble, AD does not pass well out of double teams. So if you force him into the double, you get physical with him. And then also you have to worry about the softest Charmin injuries. So once he gets injured, that becomes another problem. So at the end of the day, I'm saying it right. I'm saying it as I'm saying right now. AD falls in line to whatever LeBron says. It's as simple as that. Look at it this way. This dude he wasn't even a finalist. How do you lead the team in 13 statistical categories? I'm going to say this. LeBron is the most important player on the team. I agree with that. But is he the best player? I don't think so. And that's Anthony Davis, and he proved that this season. LeBron is still better than AD overall, especially when it comes to legacy. But what we're talking about right now, and this is what LeBron fans always get so touchy about, LeBron has had his time. He's still one of the best in the game. He's just not the best right now. And that's what I personally think. No disrespect to the brother, okay? But like I'm saying, anytime that AD wants a salad, a chicken Oriental salad, anytime that he wants himself a hamburger with fries in that 2 for $20 sale, LeBron's going to get it for him. Because you know why? As long as he props him up, that's all AD's got to do. Prop him up. LeBron's going to treat you in the limelight with respect. Now, watch when he forces Anthony Davis to give him all this. And the funny thing is, notice how LeBron in the MVP race has talked about. Well, actually, no, I'm gonna leave that one for the next topic once we get into that. But getting back onto this, the reason being is that, and I'm gonna end it with this. These are two great players. LeBron, you push for the bubble. Anthony Davis. He's a. I mean, look at it this way: either he's a fool or he's low key plotting to get himself out of there if he doesn't get it done this year. Because, like I said before, the chips are set in terms of he's expecting a trophy at the end of the season at a parade. So is Rob Pelinka, championship or bust. And I'm gonna say it again: LeBron, you push for this more than any other player because you know what's on the line. So don't. And my thing is, look, teams don't got it. And I said it again. This is a fraudulent championship for any single team that wins it. I don't care if it's the Lakers. I don't care if it's Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and the Clippers. I don't care if it's the Phoenix Suns, for God's sakes, even if they win it. The bottom line is this is a asterisk fraudulent championship for any team in the bubble. Notice I said any team, but if I just only had said the Lakers, people would have been hot and bothered like grits. For any team in this bubble, the championship doesn't mean a goddamn thing. No fans, no home court advantage, COVID cases up in Florida, and you chose to fly down there because you're all about the economics and the money. So I don't want to hear that, man. So when he's propping up Anthony Davis, and I'm going to end it with this, he's just setting up those excuses for if Anthony Davis burns out. Because look how many minutes both of those guys are playing. They just played 38 minutes against the Nuggets, and they barely beat a third-string Nuggets team that don't have their full team healthy. A win is a win. But I'm telling you right now, if AD runs out of gas and LeBron can't do it by himself, it's going to be he's 35 years old, he's in year 17, and he didn't have help from Anthony Davis. And I'm just going to close it with that.
So I'm going to segue back into this one. I'm sure you're going to have a double back on it. Then we're going to run right in because basically, and this is what makes Lewis operate at such a high level, he's kind of giving you the second title. He's kind of giving you the second subject, and he kind of segue into it. So we're going to segue right into it real smoothly. Here's the bottom line, man. We got to look at Anthony Davis, and we got to look at his mindset. To me, he's the weakest safety blanket there is, but he's also the most slippery version. I think that Anthony Davis has what I would say a card that's stacked up. It's kind of like a trump card or a trump card, so to speak. And the reason why I'm saying that is because he alluded to this prior to this whole thing happening. This is why LeBron James, the NBA and Nike got all involved to ensure that LeBron James won this NBA title, because he also has to deal with the added pressure from Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis made it very clear before the season started that I'm expecting for us to walk in the parade and us to win a championship. And this was with COVID-19 or not. He was expecting that. And he also put it out there, and me and Lewis was covering it heavy at that time, that he was looking at New York, where Lewis is at. Obviously, a lot of people were murmuring about the Knicks, but when we were using our thinking caps on, it was like, the way that Anthony Davis is moving, because he moved with LeBron, it's only smarter that the Brooklyn Nets would be the next option, especially with Kyrie Irving there. They have DeAndre Jordan there. They have Kevin Durant there. You add Anthony Davis, and I mean, you just put those four guys together, and the NBA is just literally screwed overnight. So the truth of the fact of the matter is you got to look at Anthony Davis, and you have to see what's going on. He's now starting to feel the sting. Right now, it's in the beginning. It's in the infancy of the blame game. So he's going to sit there and play the LeCog, so to speak, and take the blame. But after a while, we've seen this before, and we've seen this tendency before. Safety blankets tend to get frustrated, and they tend to get hot and bothered like grits with LeBron James. Because what happens is, what they start realizing is, even after a while, after they've played the game, or they played the blame game, then they turn around and they realize, hold up, they're still blaming me. And this guy right here, he's absolved of all of the blame. How come all of the pressure is constantly being put on me? When you look at Anthony Davis and the movement that he made from New Orleans Pelicans, he clearly couldn't handle the pressure. That's why he left. So if he couldn't handle the pressure in that market, and we don't even consider that a mid-market, we consider that a small market. If he couldn't handle the pressure there, could you imagine the Los Angeles Lakers? This is the biggest market in basketball, y'all. Outside of that, the Boston Celtics comes a close number 2, and then you can make an argument for the New York Knicks. that area where Lewis is at. That's another team that there's pressure. But the biggest thing here is Anthony Davis, the scope is on you. And if the Lakers, for some reason, in folklore status, doesn't win this NBA title, then there's going to be an issue. But I don't believe that's going to be the case because, again, it all goes back to the $90 million investment that the NBA and Nike put together to ensure that LeBron James win a title. And Lewis, we're going to harp on this because a lot of people don't know this. Lewis knows what I'm talking about because a lot of times when I say stuff, if you're in basketball one-on-one lane, it won't hit you. You got to be minimum basketball 202 lane, and the levels we operate at 303, 404, 505. You want to name it. The bottom line is you have to look at what's going on here. LeBron James has to justify 4 titles because when you look at the NBA Mount Rushmore, they separated in 3 categories. There's the guys that won 4 more NBA titles. Lewis understands the language I'm talking about, and I hope some of y'all understand the language. Then you got the guys that won 3, and then you guys got the guys that won 2 or less. LeBron is right now in the middle of the pack. NBA and Nike don't want that. They can't stand that. They've already invested $90 million in this cat. So they need him to be on the upper echelon of the pendulum swing here. They need him to be at 4 rings or better. So they're going to do whatever they can. This is why they pushed for this NBA title to come out here. This fraudulent, fluky, on-the-spot NBA title, or whatever you want to call it, this least path of resistance NBA title, they pushed for this nonsense to happen. And they pushed it at a time to just show you how desperate they were for LeBron to win. They did this during COVID-19. Me and Lewis sat here and predicted to you guys that the second phase was going to ramp up. And look, we end up being right. The second phase has ramped up. But here's the thing. You know why it's not affecting the players yet? Because of the fact that the players haven't done anything yet to where it could potentially affect them. They're all playing their whole thing where they're just being in the bubble because they just got there. But let this fester on for a while, folks. Remember, we have an NBA season that's going to go on all the way until October. You can't expect NBA players to play by this rule. Lou Williams already proved it. You know, by the way, with the whole stripper antic and him needing to go get his lemon pepper chicken wings, and then the stripper coming back and saying, well, there wasn't no 6 feet proximity. He actually did get a fucking dance. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. And then Dwight Howard basically saying, where's the drinks at? Because I'm tired of golfing and fishing. Is there any drinks here? Do you guys serve any drinks? So these NBA players are going to engage in their form of debauchery. That's going to happen. These cases are going to potentially affect them. The reason why it hasn't affected them yet is because they're about business. They're about basketball right now. They're being obedient or obedient, so to speak. But bringing this back to LeBron and them, LeBron James came out and ran his mouth about Donald Trump and ran his mouth about he was not going to put any Black Lives Matter movement T-shirts or anything on like that. And then what does he do? The first freaking game back against the Los Angeles Clippers. This guy makes it a spectacle. He has a shirt on after he said that he wasn't going to put no symbolisms or no tokenisms on himself. Then we turn around and now we got to segue into the second topic. We have Allen Iverson and Carmelo Anthony that turns around and tells us that Allen Iverson on his end, oh, I'm sorry, Michael Jordan, LeBron is the one. Isn't this convenient? Isn't the timing is perfect? Because how do you say this at a time when the Last Dance documentary just finished dropping? I know that Last Dance documentary made LeBron James feel hot and bothered like grits, and he didn't know how to respond to it. And what the Last Dance documentary did was it reiterated in the new lamest, or we would say casual NBA fans' mind that Michael Jordan is unquestionably, unequivocally, and unarguably the greatest player of all time. And they got a chance to see it, what basketball looked like at its highest levels. LeBron couldn't stand that. This is why you saw him ramp up and say, well, when I have my basketball documentary, I'm going to have 50 people. And he saw how people were clowning him on that because it just showed how insecure he was. So he said, Class A narcissist, that didn't work because you know what narcissists do? When one thing don't work, Lewis, they got to keep going. They got to keep finding something else. So, hey, AI, look here, man. I know you engaging in your substance abuse of choice. I know you having some issues. I know you be having some slurred speech things going on. I know you've been a little off. I know financially you've been having some issues. But look here, man. How about you just join the LeBart and LePay 4 team? All I need you to do is to denounce Michael Jordan and basically renounce me, and we all good. Then Allen Iverson does something that you and I and everyone didn't freaking expect. Allen Iverson turns around and Allen Iverson basically says to himself, like, well, what the heck? Allen Iverson was like, what the heck? What the heck is going on? AI turns around and AI does something that we didn't expect when it comes to basketball. AI says that LeBron James is the one over Michael Jordan when he just said a month ago that Michael Jordan was the greatest player of all time. Does that make any sense to you guys? I really want people to understand where I'm coming from with this. AI was consistent on saying that Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. And don't forget Kobe Bryant. Y'all sitting here talking about Michael and LeBron. Well, what about Kobe? What's up with Kobe? And then he comes out of nowhere. And then he says that LeBron James is the one over Michael Jordan. But here's what's disturbing to me, Lewis. And I know you saw that because I talked about this in a video, man. He hugged Dwayne Wade. And the way that he was hugging Dwayne, you know, it's kind of that hug where you would think when somebody's going through something, you know, a death in the family, or they're going through something traumatic or something like that, they do that elongated. This man hugged Wade. Then, you know, you in normal instance, we give each other a dap and a hug. We go on our business. Then he stayed there, re-hugged them again. Then came back and re-hugged them again. Then came back and re-hugged them again. And then I saw on Dwayne Wade's facial expression that even he was a bit disturbed about it. And then he turned around, hugged them again. And then he walked away. And I was like, something is off for Allen Iverson. And then I've been following Allen Iverson lately, and I've been watching his speech patterns. And he's been slurring. He's been stuttering as of late. And I'm like, I know he parties. I know he engages in stuff. But what is this off the basketball substance abuse antic that he's engaging into that's causing his mind to go crazy? And the reason why I'm saying this is because AI has always been a guy that's been known to be on his own too. He's going to give you his opinion straight up. And he's never going to sugarcoat, or he's never going to co-sign another person's opinion. And then he becomes a LeBart and LePaid for person. And then Carmelo Anthony on top of that right behind him. Melo turns around and Melo says that LeBron and AD and the Lakers will win the title. Dude, don't you play for the Portland Trail Blazers? LeBron James basically showed you what your banana boat crew worth was. It was a bunch of sack of potatoes. Steven Jackson and a number of NBA players called you out, Carmelo Anthony. They said, how come LeBron James didn't vouch for you to come on the Los Angeles Lakers? But yet you're sitting here as a competitor on another team that gave you a chance. To me, this was like a spit in Damian Lillard's face. It was a spit in CJ McCollum's face. And it was a spit in the Portland Trail Blazers' face. Or the way that I also looked at it was, is the old Melo antics coming back? Is the old Melo antics happening? And when I say old Melo antics, I'm not talking about old Melo as a player, because he's clearly lost his old abilities. I'm talking about old Melo as in old Melo in his slickery ways, meaning he's looking for another team that he could jump on because his value is going up. He's playing basketball. He's doing his thing. Maybe he doesn't want to stay on the Portland Trail Blazers long term. I would think that would be a slap in Damian Lillard's face. I would think that would be a slap in CJ McCollum's face. I would think that would be a slap in Portland Trail Blazers that invested in Carmelo Anthony. But what is up, Lewis, with all of this weird or love folklore that's been going on? Because it seems like everything is pointing to us. If they're not making it obvious, they're making it super obvious that everybody is pointing to LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers winning the NBA title.
He knows you were spitting a lot of facts, because here's the reason being. And I was looking at Doolittle in the comments. Again, I got nothing personal against LeBron, but the thing is that when you study the man's career, there's just things that I noticed that, again, that people who are just saying that LeBron and Wade are friends, I said there's some truth to that, but then it's like there's other things that I pick up that I notice about him. I'm not trying to say that LeBron's not a bad person and all that, and I'm saying, you know, he seems like a real outgoing guy, so I don't know him personally, all right? But I'm telling you, if you do your research, which a lot of people just don't do, they don't do their research. That's the problem. They just leave it as it is, and then just say, oh, either you're hating, or it's like, yo, why could you make that kind of assumption? Trust me, deep thinkers out here who know what LeBron, like I said, really is, and the way he acts, trust me, they do their research because they notice things, man. And this is what I've noticed. Getting on to Allen Iverson. I remember Allen Iverson, when Kobe had passed away, had talked about what a tremendous competitor he was, how much he loved him as a brother, how they went at it all the time. I remember what that HeKnows had mentioned about saying that, yo, when it came to the greatest of all time, and he said how LeBron is great and everything, but how did people just skip Kobe over like that? He said, did they just forget about him? I mean, remember, that's what they tried to do with Kobe. And so getting back on Allen Iverson, I still think that Allen Iverson, even though I remember back in 2016, he probably sounded as clean as I've ever heard him, probably like in a long time, with everything that's going on through his life, because AI for some reason just can't stay away from the law. He can't stay away from the partying and the drinking. And I think he's kind of gone back to that because he sounded so great in 2016. He sounded so humble in his Hall of Fame speech. If y'all go watch it, just listen to the stuff that Allen was talking about. And I've always said to myself, you know what? People can say stuff about Allen Iverson, but you know what? He's a real brother at the end of the day, because it's like he even said that he tried to be himself. He didn't try to be the next anybody. He said, I want to be the first and only Allen Iverson. But for some reason, what's happening is that, you know, he talks great about Kobe and all this. And then all of a sudden, I'm reading an article online in Bleacher Report. Now, if y'all know Bleacher Report for some reason was pro against LeBron. At one point, they even called him overrated. This is stuff that I've researched. This is stuff that I'm just talking out of my mouth. You could go Bleacher Report articles back in 2010, 2011, 2012, even up to. And I don't know whoever was the writer, but they talked about a lot of stuff. They were saying that at one point that LeBron was, you know, overrated on this kind of stuff, and he hadn't won anything. And then they said all this. Ever since that time, look at all the articles now and how much they talk about LeBron. Whoever is the writer now, they fiend over him like crazy, and they talk about how he's the best and why even is the MVP. And I'm saying to myself, and that was something that I had to connect. I looked at the past articles and I looked at the ones that are current, and I'm like, something seems to be very off here. Something seems to be very off. So when I hear Allen Iverson all of a sudden, and I'm reading the article, and Allen Iverson's like, in his voice, Michael Jordan, he's unbelievable, but LeBron, man, he's the one, dog. When I read that, I said, Did you take a cup of Patron like in the morning or something that you decided to come out and say that? Like, hey, yeah, well, what's going on? And I remember I put out a community post on that, and a lot of dudes was like, yeah, a lot of dudes came in and was like, Allen Iverson, like, what the hell going on with you, bro? Like, nah, man, nah. He said, nah. That just tells me that somewhere along the line, either somebody from LeBron's camp or maybe LeBron himself, because again, we know how higgity hush secretly that dude likes to walk. At some point, probably told Allen Iverson or something, man. Just make sure to tell me that, I'm the great, make sure to say that I'm the one over Michael Jordan. Allen Iverson, let me get the receipts on you, man. Back in 2016, you said for the first time in your life when you went up against Michael Jordan in that regular season game that you crossed him up. You remember that, Allen Iverson? Because I remember. You said to yourself, and for the first time in my life, I met somebody that didn't seem real to me. Those were your words, sir. He said, and I'm just like, those are the shoes. And I'm like, oh, yo, that's Mike. So you say all of that. You say all of that, sir. So all of a sudden in 2020 right now, during this, I mean, I guess he may be affected with COVID or something. I don't know. He might maybe he might be shooting up in one of them cases or something. But all of a sudden, you now say this about that LeBron is the one. I mean, he's got the chosen one tattooed on his damn back. So now so he went from the chosen one to now the one. Allen Iverson, man. I don't know what's going on, bro, but usually I would say if he was speaking objectively, and I would be like, okay, I can respect it. But the thing is, the receipts that you have in the past, there's just no way, absolutely no way that all of a sudden you could tell me you turn around a 360 and telling me now that LeBron James is the one over Michael Jordan. I'm sorry. With everything that you said in your career, all of a sudden you turn around, There's just something that doesn't make sense. And let me get on LeBron and Dwayne Wade. Let me be real with y'all. At one point, I looked at LeBron and D Wade and I said, those guys they look like they're great friends. They look like they're best friends. That's how I saw them.
Yep.
Ever since that time in Cleveland, when Dwayne Wade went to go join LeBron James, when he could have stayed with Miami after he left that 1 year in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Take a listen to this. D Wade got traded. Y'all remember when he got traded to Miami? Everybody was saying Dwayne Wade, he wanted to go back. You're right. He did want to go back. But what was the reason that he wanted to go back? And also, Dwayne Wade said, LeBron, did you know anything about that trade when they traded me away?
Mm-hmm.
LeBron said, I know nothing about it.
Bullshit.
Now, your best friend would tell you to your face that, oh, I know about the trade and, I'm sorry that you got traded. My thing is, again, that's called plausible deniability. Deniability. And what happened was LeBron didn't take responsibility and told his best friend that he ended up being traded. And you know what's the worst part about that trade? He knows his sport. As soon as Dwayne Wade got traded, what did LeBron do? He took his ball and went to Los Angeles.
Yep.
He went to LA. And what y'all got to understand about LeBron is he's always been a plotting schemer. He's been a plotting schemer. And why do I say that? It's because him and Dwayne Wade had planned in the Olympics with Chris Bosh. And many people have said this already. It's just people choose to deny it. During Olympics, Beijing, they said, how cool will it be to play together? They cut down their years where they would have signed extensions to become free agents at the same time. And they ended up joining each other. I don't got an issue with that. But people need to stop acting like if LeBron went to South Beach to go save a franchise that had not achieved success. Wade has already achieved success. It's just he had down years because a lot of moving pieces happened. People want to act like if they had the same team and they didn't do anything and then LeBron came in to save. Like they're treating him like he's a savior. And it's like, no, LeBron had not won anything yet. And he had just lost to the Boston Celtics, the same team that Dwayne Wade lost to. See, that's what happened. They didn't mention that part. So because they didn't mention that part, there's a reason for that. And because they didn't mention that, he goes down there. Okay, he learns how to win. LeBron becomes a champion because LeBron had not won anything yet. I mean, it was to the point that the media. This is why I have to go back to Mr. Scottie Pippen. This dude can never make up his mind because he was such a disdain for MJ at one point that all of a sudden he went that LeBron was the most potent offensive player in NBA history. Dude,
LeBron
the most potent offensive player you were playing with was right next to you. You guys won 6 championships together. 6. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 together. LeBron had not won anything yet. So, like I said, I don't blame LeBron for going to South Beach. My issue is that you plan to go there. So don't make it seem like if there's that the people in Cleveland was the one that pushed you out. When he did when ESPN redid the decision after The Last Dance, and they were talking about that there was a person for the reason that LeBron didn't want to go, that LeBron did not come back to Cleveland and all this, and that he should push for all this to happen. Your little Boys and Girls Club and getting all these they look like mindless puppets when you brought those children up on that show just for you to have that decision. So how did you expect Cleveland to feel when they took you, they accepted you? And I get it. You was not in a great franchise. I'm sorry, but you've been part of a lot of trades here, man. People need to stop acting like LeBron's got. I told you, Anthony Davis came out earlier this season and said, I want to thank Rob Pelinka and I want to thank the Lakers organization for allowing us to say okay on the players that we wanted. He said that. So if people want to come back and say, oh, LeBron doesn't have help, I can go back to that interview with Rachel Nichols and pull that thing up and I'll show it to y'all and listen to what he said. And then are y'all going to call me a liar or you're just going to call me a hater? Because listen, if you call me a hater, that basically is telling me that you don't have an argument. The free agency landscape continues to evolve and change. You can't blame Bron for that. Well, here's the thing, though. I'm not saying that the free agency landscape doesn't change, but and they talked about the Boston Celtics being the prime super team. But let's focus real quick before I close out. And salute to you, Richy Rich. Let's close this out. The way that Boston's team came together was Ray Allen got traded to the Boston Celtics. He didn't come there as a free agent. Kevin Garnett, who was loyal to the Minnesota Timberwolves for 12 years when he should have left Minnesota a long time ago, when Richy Rich has pointed that out numerous times. He got also traded there because, again, Danny Ainge, and who was the president of basketball operations for the Minnesota Timberwolves? Kevin McHale. They were former teammates. KG was rumored to be a Laker. McHale put the brakes and said that ain't gonna happen. So once he said that, he was going to be a Boston Celtic. So they got traded there. Rajon Rondo was in his second year. So you can't really call that a super team. Paul Pierce he was really the only player that was kind of really in his prime. Ray Allen and KG played him within the team. Yeah, so KG won the Defensive Player of the Year. Boston had an amazing year after they had a down year the previous year. They won 66 games. I mean, people are forgetting also the James Posies, the Sam Cassells, the PJ Browns, the Eddie Houses, the Tony Allens, the Leon Poles, like all those guys, and even the Kendrick Perkins. I'm going to put him on there. Kendrick Perkins, should I call him? But that's how that team was formed. LeBron is different. LeBron was entering his prime, 25 years old. Chris Bosh, 26. D-Wade, 28. Those guys were all under the age of 30. They started the modern prime super team in the free agency era. That's what y'all got to understand. That's how I'm breaking that down. So people who want to go, Boston was the first super team, There's been super teams in NBA history. I've said that already. But to close out, I'm going to go, again, I'm saying like that. The first super team was Boston in terms, if you want to call it that way, in terms of a trade, but they only won one championship. And that's due to the injuries. We can't say if, ands, or Boston. Bottom line is, unfortunately, only won one championship.
All right.
And then that Boston Celtics team, they only gloat about that one championship when they only went to 2 finals. I mean, good finals runs and all that. But so then let me just end this on Allen Iverson, man. I told you, LeBron James treats Dwayne Wade as a business buddy. He doesn't really it's kind of like a friends with benefits type thing. If you really look deep into their relationship, why do you think Dwayne Wade still has LeBron around? Because trust me, any friend who does that to me, I'm not going to want to know any part of them if they only use you for their personal gain. D-Wade's trying to get into Hollywood. That's why he keeps Bron around. If y'all really see this, I'm telling you, that's the reason why.
Yeah.
Hollywood opportunities. Who is he married to? Gabrielle Union. Hollywood actor. Come on, man. It's like, that's what y'all got to see. But at the end, Allen Iverson, man, listen, bro. I'm telling you, he's met some people from LeBron's camp. He maybe partied with them, had conversations and all that. But to go from Kobe Bryant was a competitor, how do you skip him, to, I'm going to say this again, when Richy Rich, you missed my Allen Iverson impersonation, so I'm going to do it right now. That's a 2016 Hall of Fame speech right here. He said, man, I was like, my first game, and I see Mike, and I'm like, it's like, I thought I was looking at God. It's like, I'm not looking at, those are the Jordans. Like, for the first time in my life, I looked at a human and he didn't even seem real to me. So if Larry Bird says that he played God in Michael Jordan was disguised as God in basketball shoes, if Allen Iverson said that was the first human that he ever met in his life that didn't seem real to him, if he said Kobe Bryant is such a brother, and how do you skip him in GOAT talks? How do you go from all that? And I just gave you the receipts. Go look at his 2016 Hall of Fame speech, because you can hear that whole speech and everything he said. He sounded like a real brother. And then comes and says that LeBron is the one over Michael Jordan, dog. And he said LeBron is great, but how do you skip Kobe? Now LeBron James is the one. AI, man, I appreciate what you meant for the game of basketball in terms of the cultural impact that you have. But brother, I don't know what you've been smoking. You must have took a sip of Patron like in the morning and decided to say that, and probably paparazzi caught you in saying that, and TMZ decided to make it a story articles. But no, sir, no. I'm sorry, man. I don't know what you on, man, but it's like, nah. I know this is all LeBart and LePay for, man. And Carmelo Anthony too, bro. You play on the Portland Trailblazers. How the hell you saying stuff like that too, bro? Like, honestly, think. Maybe that's why Richy Rich. Maybe that's why that the league now wants the Blazers so badly in this bubble to face the Lakers, as they're calling them their biggest threat. But Carmelo's coming out and saying that the Lakers are going to win the NBA title. Maybe that's why the league wants the Blazers so badly. Remember, because they wanted Zion, but the Pelicans screwed that up. So now, this is why, low-key, you got to think about. This is the lead path of resistance. If you hear even your banana boat buddy coming out and saying, oh, the Lakers are going to win the NBA title, maybe that tells me that you're not going to be in Portland too long. And the way that you're playing, who knows if you're trying to go to another team? Because remember, Lillard didn't want him after he tried to recruit him. Now everything is all good, and Lillard's trying to carry. He's doing his thing. But so I'm gonna end it with that, and I'm just saying this, man. The timing of everything got to make you question all that, man. And I close it out on that.
Man, Richy Rich, we're gonna run it back. The last two topics that we talked about. The first one, we were delving into Anthony Davis and LeBron James, who is the actual true Lakers MVP and why. And then we segue into the second topic, which is what's up with Allen Iverson, because we got to double back on that, and him basically saying that LeBron over Michael Jordan, and then Carmelo Anthony basically co-signing and saying LeBron and AD and the Lakers are going to win the title. What is going on with this the weird folklore?
Well, salutes to you, He Knows. Salutes to you, Lewis. How you guys doing today? How you guys doing in the chat? Salutes to you all in the chat. Well, to start off with the topics, Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Who's the true MVP of this team? Obviously, it's Anthony Davis. You know, we've been discussing this for the past few shows. You know, he leads the Lakers in four statistical categories on the team: points, rebounds, blocks, and even I believe he leads the team in steals as well. So you know, he leads the team in four categories. He is the MVP of the season for the Lakers. If you were to give an MVP to each member of a team, he would be the MVP for the Lakers. As you've seen so far in these bubble games, not many people have been watching these bubble games, but if you watch the Laker games, if you saw that game against Toronto and Indiana, which the Lakers lost, when Anthony Davis struggled, the Lakers, man, were not. It didn't matter what LeBron James was doing. They need Anthony Davis to play at a high level because their role players are like hot and cold. Like Kuzma, he's very streaky. He can be streaky. When he's on, he's on. But when he's cold, he's cold. Dion Waiters, he's still trying to figure his identity with the Lakers franchise. He's gonna try to attack, but you don't know if that's really going to, be effective when the games really matter. When defenses start paying attention to Dion Waiters, they start, trying to break down what the Lakers are trying to do. They got a bunch of guys that are still trying to figure out the system. And when teams are able to have them in a series, when the teams have the Lakers in a season series and they're able to analyze and break down what some of those role players are going to try to do, teams are going to try to stop that, and it's going to put more pressure on LeBron James and Anthony Davis to have to be consistent with their numbers, because that was the issue with them, as we've seen. Like LeBron and AD, they got to have big time games if they want to be able to, be head and shoulders above these teams. And that's hard. That's going to be hard to do with LeBron James' age, where he's at currently at the age of 35. This man is 17 years in. Eventually father time is going to kick in, and he's going to put all his eggs in basket for AD to step up. And as we've seen, like, one thing I noticed is in some of these games, these defenders, they don't really try to check AD. I noticed in that game against Toronto when Pascal Siakam, when he was guarding AD, that man was defending AD. AD couldn't do nothing. He locked up Anthony Davis. Even TJ Warren and Miles Turner, those bigs, they have the ability to they're agile. They move their feet and they defend. You can see Anthony Davis, he struggles with those type of bigs, but because he's not your traditional big man where he's able to back you down and get you in the post. He's a face-up big. He's gonna try to fake you out, do pump fakes, use the first step on you to get by you to score his points. That's how, and he's gonna hit the occasional mid-range shot on you. He's not effective when he's faced up with bigs that can stay with him, that have the foot speed to stay in front of him, that actually make him work for shots. Because if you see AD doesn't have a release like Chris Bosh or Kevin Love. His release is not fast. He has like a slow release. All you got to be a big that just pays attention. You know, you obviously you got to have the foot speed to stay with AD, but you got to be able to just make him work, man. And you know, he's gonna struggle. I don't know if teams are looking at that, but they need to start looking at that because Anthony Davis, he is their most valuable player. If he struggles, the Lakers are not going to have a shot. I don't care what LeBron does because we've seen it. We've seen LeBron put up triple doubles in the finals, and he still gets swept or gentleman sweep by the Golden State Warriors. KD wasn't having that. It didn't matter what LeBron was doing. It didn't matter what he was putting up 30, 10, and 10, 30, 9, and 9. His numbers didn't mean anything. He needs AD to step up. He needs those numbers from AD to be consistent. If AD can't put up those consistent numbers, the Lakers are going to falter, and that's facts, folks. So Anthony Davis is that team's MVP. If he can't be consistent, you know, he doesn't have a lot of meaningful games under his belt in the postseason. So we're gonna see who the real AD is when them games start mattering. First round, I think they're gonna beat Portland Trailblazers if they get with them. The Rockets, I think that's gonna be a hard fought series in the second round. But the NBA, the league's not gonna let a team like the Rockets beat the Lakers. Yeah, the Rockets. The NBA is not gonna let a team like the Rockets beat the Lakers. So the Lakers are most likely gonna advance to the Western Conference. Now, when they get the Clippers, that's going to be a series for everybody to keep their eyes on. And in those games, we've seen Anthony Davis be able to go, have his way with that Clippers team. But even though those games have still been close, so it's all in the clip. If the Clippers could figure out a way to keep Anthony Davis at bay, then I could see them winning that series. They edge out that series. It doesn't matter what LeBron does. In fact, they could shut LeBron down, but they can't let AD go off. If they let AD go off, then the Lakers are probably going to win that series. So far, I'm done with that topic. We're gonna move on with AI. AI, we discussed them last week, man. I don't know what's going on with AI. People have brought up substance abuse. Maybe he's messing around with like substance stuff like alcohol, drugs. I don't know what's going on with Buddy right now, but for him to say that, man, LeBron is better than Michael Jordan, man. AI, man, he's not with us right now. He's not in the present right now. For him this man had hard fought games with Kobe. He knows Kobe's body of work. Kobe's no longer with us. Rest in peace. But for AI to put LeBron over KD, I don't get what AI was thinking, man. And we came up with a theory last week saying that maybe LeBron has been, taking care of AI because AI, after his career, we came to find out that he had financial troubles. He was like pissing his money away, and he was like heavy in gambling and stuff like that. And he had financial advisors scam him and take money from him. He also had a big entourage. They were probably, taking advantage of him at that time, and they were able to, take a lot of money away from him and stuff like that. So LeBron probably came in his corner, and took care of him, man, behind the scenes. So AI, he probably took a liking to that, and he's probably like loyal to LeBron right now. So he's gonna be saying good things about LeBron, to make him look good in the light. LeBron, man, is just like how Lewis says, the bought and the paid for. He's looking for yes men, the ultimate yes men to be surrounded around him. No, everybody that he's bought and paid for, they're gonna be saying nothing but great things about him. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna have anybody out there saying negative stuff about him. He only wants to remain good in the light because his resume does not match up to MJ. It doesn't match up to Kobe Bryant's resume. So, and other greats, other past greats like Kareem, Magic. So he's trying to look good into the light, man. So he's gonna have these guys propping him up, saying nothing but great things about him, knowing that it's a fallacy. You know, this guy has lost double the amount of times that he's won. You know, it doesn't make any sense. How are we gonna put a guy like that in front of a guy like MJ, knowing MJ was the ultimate competitor, knowing that he never lost on the big stage. Meaning that if you lose on the big stage, if you even lose on the big stage once, you can't be compared to MJ.
Exactly.
That's the thing. He never lost on the big stage. LeBron James has lost on the big stage 6 times. And this guy's being compared to Michael. It's absurdity, man. That's what it is. I don't understand. Like these guys, it's getting tired of hearing that MJ is the best. They want something new, but the thing that they're trying to put up as new doesn't make sense, man. Just wait till another dude comes around. Eventually, somebody in the future, who knows, maybe 50 years down the road, 60, he might be able to usurp MJ. So we just gotta wait for that. Right now, it's not. None of these players right now is going to be put ahead of Michael. And that's the reality of things, folks. So AI, man, brother, man, think for a second before you talk. That's all I got to say about AI. Moving on to
hold on real quick. I just when you was talking about how AI, you know, having all these financial problems and people were trying to take money from him, scamming from him. For some reason, notice that AI has a big entourage, right? LeBron's looking at that as an opportunity. So he's a little opportunist. So he's like, the more people, the more entourage, you know, this guy has, because he knows what Allen Iverson's about. And he said, yo, buy him. He said, if I could get AI to, you know, buy him. And it's like, yo, look how many people I could get people to talk about me. Because remember, and he knows mentioned this. Y'all remember when Scottie Pippen got himself into a financial situation? Who was there to save his butt? Michael Jordan. And he was low key throwing snipes at him in the media. Michael Jordan helps his situation, and then look how quiet Scottie Pippen got. And then he goes, nobody. He's like, yeah, for him to three-peat once, retire, and then three-peat, that's goatness. That's greatness. See, Scottie Pippen wasn't saying that before. So now you got Allen Iverson having a financial problem, and knowing what he's been going through ever since, I told y'all, since that Hall of Fame speech, because he looked like he was good at that time. But then with everything that's going on, and I'm telling you, I still think that he still parties, and I feel like he's still kind of hanging around the wrong people. That's what that's telling me. But look at LeBron. He's looking at him, and he's like, yo, he said, AI's in a vulnerable state. Let me LeBron and LePay for this guy right now, one of the all-time greats. And now he's coming out and saying that, you know, Michael Jordan is the one. Once you lose that one time, see, here's the thing: you have to measure statistics, you got to measure awards, and you got to measure dominance. Michael Jordan covers all 3 categories. That's the problem. When you look at all those stats, accolades, winning, that's how I judge a player: stats, accolades, and wins. Because like my man Herm Edwards said, hello, you play to win the game. And that's the point. So you have to have the statistical dominance with the winning championships. And Michael Jordan covers all those bases. We're not talking about 11 is more than 6. I know that. Bill Russell's the greatest winner. Okay. And I know to be fair to Bill, some of those stats are not able to be accumulated for because some of those statistics weren't measured until in the later years. But I'm talking about in the era that Michael played in, because you can only control in the era that you played in. Statistically, one of the most dominant ever. Awards, he got a plethora of awards. And then at the end of the day, 6-0 in the NBA Finals without a blemish. That doesn't hurt Jordan when he's talking about, I don't know what it was like for closure. Dude, you can go as undefeated, 6-0. Nobody can touch that. I mean, you wasn't the only one to do it. Obviously, you had help with Scottie and all that. Scottie could say he was 6-0 too and all that. But again, at the end of the day, he doesn't have the statistical dominance that Michael has. And he was not only the best offensive player at his position, but the best defensive player at his position. So at the end of the day, LeBron James really low-key is trying to be like Jordan, you know, in terms of, in a way, because Jordan has yes men, and that's why he's been bad running the Hornets. But what my point is that in terms of Scottie Pippen, look how he took shots at him. And the minute Jordan took care of his financial trouble, higgity goddamn effing hush, like HeKnowsHisSport says. AI, you get to talk good about me. It makes me feel secure about myself, which is you're secure about your insecurity, LeBron James, and that's what it is. See how I reverse that up? You're secure about your insecurity.
Yep,
and
I like
that's what
that.
it's all about, man. At the end of the day, man.
Man, look here, man. Jordan's gonna have an alleyway talk with Allen Iverson, like he had a limo talk with Stephen A. Smith. If you guys remember, Jordan pulled up on Stephen A. Smith in a limo, pulled the freaking window down, and said, "Don't you ever in your damn life, when he catch AI, he gonna catch AI in the alley. He gonna say, 'What did you say in the media?' And then you gonna see AI gonna come out and he gonna rescind everything that he said. And AI gonna say, 'Man, you know, Jordan came to me and he talked to me,' because that's what MJ got to do sometimes. Sometimes he got to go double back and chin check you so that he could understand, okay, what's going on here? Because you was talking a certain way, and then out of nowhere you getting slick. Because Stephen A. Smith almost did the same crap that Lewis Sports Network was talking about. He got to a point to where he was almost getting so much of a LeBron tard that there was no coming back. MJ had to check him. And then from that point on, Stephen A. Smith knew, okay, you know what? If I don't do this, there ain't going to be no more access to MJ ever again. And we can't have that because I got to be the ultimate insider here. So we're going to clarify this because he knew he had to keep his stakes and his interest in the best. So from that point on, he's made it very clear LeBron James ain't touching no damn Michael Jordan. This is what Michael Jordan's going to have to do with AI. It's going to have to happen because AI is in a vulnerable spot. He's in a vulnerable position, and he's going to have to get chin checked. And I'm sure Michael Jordan, before he gave Scottie Pippen that bread, like Lewis alluded to, he chin checked his ass too. Don't you ever in your life get in the damn media and talk this nonsense. We got a brotherhood here, man. We drank beers together. We did some shit together. We engaged in debauchery together. We won 6 titles together. What the heck are you doing right now, man? You sitting here and saying that this guy right here is better than me? What's going on? It's not my fault that you squandered your money. You had me right here with you the whole time. That could have put the other people in front of you to advise you. But you went ahead and did what you had to do and squandered all your money, squandered all your resources, and that's on you. So now I'm bailing your ass out. But here's the contingency. You can never, you probably had him sign a freaking MJ non-disclosure agreement. You can never in your life say anything sacrilegious about MJ in the media again. And that's what's going to have to happen with Allen Iverson. There's going to have to be an alley talk. At this point, that's what it's going to. Because if Allen Iverson comes back out and doubles back on his comment, then we know unquestionably he is LeBought and he is LePaid for. That's just the bottom line. Is there anything you wanted to say on this topic, Richy Rich, before we jump on to the next?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I don't think MJ likes having to do that because he's always left it to the masses to say that he was the greatest player to ever play the game. And like when Isaiah, you remember Isaiah? He's always a LeBron promoter. That time when LeBron said that that time when he beat the Warriors, coming back down 3-1, he felt that he was the GOAT. And Isaiah Thomas, even Isaiah Thomas, who's always pumping LeBron James up, he made Isaiah Thomas have to check him, man. Isaiah Thomas was like, listen, man, there's one thing you do as a great player in this game. You never call yourself the GOAT. You always leave it to public opinion. That's what you always do. Because Michael Jordan, you never heard Michael Jordan call himself the greatest of all time. Because when you hear Michael always says that there's guys that laid the groundwork before him. He always respects the guys that played before him. The Dr. J's, the Magic Johnsons, the Oscar Robinsons. Larry Bird. He always talks highly of those guys. Bill Russell, Will Chamberlain. Always talks highly of those guys. He never calls himself the GOAT of all time. LeBron James is referring to himself as the greatest of all time with a shoddy resume. Doesn't make sense. Michael Jordan doesn't. He's gonna have to check AI, but he doesn't want to do that because AI, man. AI actually was the one that touched him to do The Last Dance because he saw his documentary. And he wanted to connect with the director that made that 30 for 30 on AI to do The Last Dance for him. So at some point, yeah, they're gonna be talking about that. But Jordan don't want to do that though. But the thing with LeBron James that I wanted to touch on, man, was that like this dude, man, like you guys been saying, it just doesn't make sense. Like men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. You know, Jay-Z, that's I'm quoting Jay-Z. At the end of the day, Jordan just can't, like, you remember when Jerry West and Magic Johnson that year, when they were saying that they believe LeBron James surpassed Kobe Bryant that year. I believe LeBron James won the MVP. Yeah, they said that Kobe Bryant, they believe LeBron James surpassed Kobe Bryant as the best player in the game that year. And Kobe Bryant had to prove to those dudes. I believe he won the finals that year. And he had Magic Johnson and Jerry West backtracking. And they were like, you know what? We spoke too soon. Kobe Bryant is still the best player in the game. Kobe, I apologize. Magic Johnson. He had Magic Johnson backtracking. He had Jerry West. That's the thing. Jordan is not in the league presently to have to remind these people. We always got to go to past stuff, and like people are tired, especially this new generation. They're so disrespectful on things of the past. They're like, man, I'm not trying to watch these old vintage retro videos of Michael Jordan. All I know is LeBron James, man. LeBron James, that little kid, LeBron James. That's all. That's what they know right now, man. That's what they want to pay attention to right now. That's what this new generation is about. Screw that. Their mindset is screw the old school. But that's the problem. The old school, the fundamentals were better. The passion for the game was at an all-time high. Guys didn't take shortcuts to win. Guys went through an obstacle. That's the thing about it. LeBron, man, that man looking for the easiest shortcut to win, man. Jordan, man, there's a different level of competitor when we comparing the two.
Yep.
So that's what people just gotta realize. LeBron James is it right now. He's the it factor, and that's what he is in this era. In the past era, he would be a joker. He would be a clown in the past era because they wouldn't stand for that. So in this era, he's kind of ran with it. He knows that that's the thing. He knows his element. He knows what this atmosphere is all about, and he's gonna use it to his advantage. And he knows that this is what the casuals are into. This is what the young crowd is into. So he's gonna run with it. But when this game is over with, when his resume, his career is over with, it's gonna go back to men lie, women lie, numbers don't. They're gonna start looking at his resume and they're gonna start picking it apart. That's what they do with all greats. They've even done it to MJ. They just want to be critical of you for no reason because they tired of hearing good things about. That's how the media do it. They build you up only to break you down. At some point, they're gonna start breaking down LeBron James, and they're gonna start looking at this man's resume. And when they start putting it to front row and center, that resume is not gonna look pretty, man. Because we know his resume already. But when we start looking at his resume with our eyes wide open, man, we're gonna be like, man. I'm not talking about us because we know the resume. I'm talking about the casuals. He's like, man, yo, this stuff has been a mirage, man. This guy, how are we calling this dude the greatest of the game with a resume like his? And this dude took shortcuts, and he was on Voltron super teams. And this guy is 3 for 6 in the finals. Listen, if this dude don't win this season in this bubble, man, listen. Is there going to be a hope for the Lakers going on for next season? You already got Michael Wilbon, putting a rumor in there. I know you heard what Mike Wilbon said about AD. If them dudes don't win the title in the NBA bubble, this dude might not resign with the Lakers, man. Yep. That man went in there and put it out there, man, just to stir up a little controversy. I don't know if you guys peeped that.
Yeah, we peeped that. Man, Lewis, man, I want you to touch up on Giannis Antetokounmpo because we're gonna jump into the next topic. I feel like Giannis Antetokounmpo kind of put a monkey in the wrench with the headbutt with Mo Wagner, and the reason why I'm saying that is because all of us had him unquestionably the NBA MVP. And you know, when it comes to LBJ Riders Media, when it comes to LBJ Brigade, LBJ Apologists, LBJ Stands, they just need something to steer the ship. They need something to validate why LeBron James, even if it's something that has nothing to do with basketball, all going back to what Kevin Durant said, this is a toxic as you know what environment. It's not even about basketball. It's about gargling the freaking balls. Anything that they can do to push the agenda so that this guy right here could get a vantage point or an advantage over another player. With Giannis Antetokounmpo doing this headbutt, I just feel like if Giannis was so concrete with the NBA record, so concrete in the fact that not only he is unquestionably the NBA MVP because that title is best player on the best team, he's also the NBA Defensive Player of the Year award recipient. We haven't seen this since Michael Jordan and Akeem Olajuwon. He will be the third person to do this. If he had this in the bag, I feel like the Mo Wagner situation kind of brought that bag and it opened it up. So I want your take on this. Do you feel that's going to hurt him? Do you still got him ultimately winning the NBA MVP? And how do you feel the LBJ Riders Media going to stir this whole headbutt situation?
All right, well, first and foremost, Giannis is still clear-cut the MVP, even with that situation happening. I know what the media is going to say. They're going to look at that and is that a way an MVP is supposed to carry himself? But yes, somebody who makes excuses, is that the way you're supposed to carry yourself? You know, I'm just saying, this is the stuff that I know. This is, again, when you study and you watch what some people don't like to do. I don't know. I'm just saying. But my thing is Giannis should know better than that, especially considering that, again, you can't be trying to cost your team like at this point in the end. You can't be trying to lose your edge, especially with the playoffs looming around the corner. Like they start next week. The bubble games start this Saturday, which is only really going to be, one team. But here's the thing, man. The reason that Giannis is the clear MVP is because he's not playing with another dominant player. People are going to go and say, well, Chris Middleton, he's an all-star. Oh, look, Chris Middleton is having a 50-40-90 season. You're right. He's having a 50-40-90 season. But are we looking at regular season numbers or what his impact is going to be in the postseason? See, if you're a deep-level thinker, it's what are you going to do in the postseason? And what did Chris Middleton do last year in the postseason? He could not help Giannis out at all. Then on top of that, you also have to consider this. Is Giannis's jump shot going to be good so that they won't be able to double? Number one. Number two, is his jump shot going to be good enough so that they don't have to build a wall? They don't have to play zone where Giannis is not able to drive to the basket. Because remember, Giannis's points at an efficient clip, yeah, he's improved his jump shot. Yeah, he's taking more three-pointers, so he's taking chances, but he's still not a good free throw shooter. That's number one. So they'll be able to hack him. That's number one. And then number two, like I said, Eric Bledsoe cannot play half-court basketball. If you watch Eric Bledsoe, he gets going when you push up the pace. He shouldn't be in the starting lineup. So basically, people are saying that, well, the Bucks are deep. But are you telling me you're going to count on Eric Bledsoe, who for 2 straight years with the Bucks has not played well in the playoffs? He got outplayed by Terry. He got outplayed by Terry Rozier, for God's sakes. Terry Rozier, an inefficient Terry Rozier. Let me say that again. Who's with Michael Jordan right now. So yeah, you're really counting on him to be able to play well. See, they're gonna look at this as that the best way is he would have to come off the bench, because at least they're saying that they did this last year with George Hill in terms of like pairing him up with that. But also remember that Malcolm Brogdon was there last year. He's not there anymore. So there's more responsibility on Chris Middleton, to play better. And he's having a 50-40-90 season. The media is going to use that and say, oh, look, man, see, like Giannis got help. Like Chris Middleton is 50-40-90. He's giving you 20 a game. So he got help. And I said, yeah, in the regular season. We know that the regular season and the postseason are 2 different seasons. The postseason really shows who you really are. Are you the same cat from the regular season, or are you a different person in the postseason? Either your play elevates or it dissipates. And Giannis is the clear MVP because Anthony Davis is clearly the more dominant player over Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton is no Anthony Davis. Is Chris Middleton leading the Bucks in 13 statistical categories like Anthony Davis? No. So that clear cut tells you right there that Giannis is the MVP. It clearly tells you right there. And the game that I saw yesterday not yesterday, 2 days ago, when I did the Raptors and the Bucks, the Raptors were missing 3 of their starters. 3 starters. Serge Ibaka, Kyle Lowry, and Fred VanVleet. The Bucks were missing Giannis Antetokounmpo. Chris Middleton struggled so bad, and Pascal Siakam didn't even play well. He didn't even play well. Chris Middleton only had 14 points, and Juanetta Thomas, who was on my stream, she said that was the reason right there that Giannis was the MVP, and I said that's it. That's the reason. Again, LeBron's having a great season, great 17th season. But let me be honest with y'all. I've seen great 35-year-old seasons. I've seen great 17 seasons. This whole thing that LeBron's doing it more than any other player in history is flat out ridiculous. I've seen Kobe play well in his 17 year. I saw Michael Jordan with a broken finger play well at age 35. I mean, let's look at what did Michael Jordan do that year? First team defense, first team All NBA, led the league in scoring at age 35, All-Star Game MVP, regular season MVP, won the championship, Finals MVP.
Yep.
At age 35. Oh, by the way, he played all 82 games that year too.
Exactly.
So when I hear all this stuff, Anthony Davis wasn't even a finalist. My thing is, how does somebody lead 13 statistical categories? LeBron only leads the league in assists because they keep saying that, LeBron moved to point guard. So, because LeBron is a point guard, he's setting all these guys up. So if you're doing all that, why is it that Rajon Rondo has got to practice shooting, and be in the corner for 3? Why isn't he handling the ball? Because that's what he traditionally does. He's a point guard. So he may be ball dominant, as you say, but again, Anthony Davis plays well with those kind of players. So when I hear people saying that LeBron is making Anthony Davis better, that's a bunch of nonsense because Anthony Davis was averaging those numbers. Anthony Davis is just playing in a bigger market now, and he's playing with a more dominant player in LeBron James. Anthony Davis just couldn't get it done with probably a more talented roster in New Orleans when he made 2 playoffs in 7 years. So if you went to go get Anthony Davis and then y'all say that LeBron is the MVP because AD didn't do jack in New Orleans, then you're trying to prep him up to be some fourth quarter scorer and get him going. Because if LeBron is supposed to be the closer, if he's supposed to be the closer of the team, why are you prepping Anthony Davis to be the fourth quarter scorer if Anthony Davis has never been that in his career? That just tells me you're setting up the narrative. He don't get it done. And besides, how many minutes is Anthony Davis playing too? Them dudes are playing 38, 39 minutes a game in the bubble. And before the Nuggets game, that was the best the Lakers had looked because they looked so bad before that. I mean, not just them, the Clippers and a lot of teams, because it's just been a weird bubble overall. It's just been weird because you got teams like the Phoenix Suns now, making their way to possibly the playoffs. The Blazers, look how the Grizzlies have free falled ever since they had their injuries and the trades and all this kind of stuff. But you cannot be the MVP just leading the league in assists. That's a narrative. First of all, if LeBron's better than Kobe, why are you using his death to push your MVP narrative? What kind of sense does that make? What kind of sense does that make? What kind of sense does that make? You're using somebody's death to prop your MVP status because he's dealing with it. So Giannis is not dealing with it. Your own teammate Anthony Davis is not dealing with it. Quinn Cook, Zach LaVine, Trae Young. I mean, all these guys. Devin Booker, who just hit a game winner over the Clippers in the bubble, was saying he has the Kobe shoes on, and he says Kobe stays with me, mama mentality. So you don't think he's dealing with that? That's why I just don't understand. And it's like, again, I'm not trying to hate on LeBron. I think he's an MVP candidate, no question. He's going to be in there. But the fact that Anthony Davis was not a finalist, that just tells me all they need to know. And I think they're using his New Orleans narrative as to why he's not a finalist. But he could lead 13 statistical categories. Points, rebounds, blocks, steals. And he's even a defensive player of the year candidate. But LeBron should be the MVP because he led this team. No, the team didn't change until Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, and JaVale McGee got there. That's how they became a better defensive team. AD set the tone defensively. He was the one that even said, I'm pushing LeBron to challenge defensively. And I say it again, LeBron is the most important player on the Los Angeles Lakers. But is he the best player right now? It's Anthony Davis. And LeBron is still one of the best players in the game. But this whole thing that people are hanging on to, saying that he's the best player, like, you know, still, he's not the best anymore. And I still think that the best player is up for grabs. We still got to see what Mr. KD Trey 5, once he comes back, what he looks like. But that's going to be up for grabs again.
Yep.
Because Kawhi Leonard's not playing enough games, and he's low managing right now for me to say that. And it's going to be that way for Kawhi Leonard. So I don't know if he'll ever be he'll still be one of the best when he's on the floor. But I just don't think Kawhi's going to be the best player because he doesn't play enough. So we got to see what Kevin Durant is going to be. But I still think the best player is up for grabs right now.
Exactly.
And I'm going to close it on this note. People got to stop, man. It's really getting ridiculous. Why is it that you have to use so many props just to put an MVP campaign? Let your play do the damn talking, bro. Like it's honestly ridiculous. I thought is it what you care about rings? Because remember what LeBron said. He said his legacy was set. He said his legacy was set, but you're still chasing the ghost of Michael Jordan. You can't get slots in the mouth with that. You're still chasing. You're still chasing because what happens if they win the title? This is why Shannon Sharp is praying that LeBron wins the title. This is why Nick Wright is praying that they win an NBA title.
Yep.
Don't let the eyes fool you, man. And like I said, Chris Broussard is on the Clippers right now. But I'm telling you right now, and Max Kellerman, but I'm telling you, those two will turn a 360, which is why I don't trust either one of those guys. Let's say that LeBron wins the title. I'm telling you right now, they're going to flip all the way around like they went around the world, and they're going to say LeBron was the best. They're not even going to say they're wrong. And then watch, Kendrick Perkins is going to say, oh, no, you was on Kawhi bandwagon. You was on the Clippers bandwagon. So, no, you can't come back. That's why Stephen A. plays to the narrative. So if he feels like the Clippers are going to win and he's a Kawhi guy, he'll stick with him. If he feels like LeBron is, because like I said before, he ripped them all last season when LeBron didn't get it done and all these reports came out and all that. LeBron wins the title, you're going to see Stephen A. going to try to get on his good side. And he's been trying to do it all season long. So, and I'm going to end it with this, man. LeBron James, no disrespect to you, brother. No disrespect at all. This is the truth. In your own two letters of your name, this is the truth. And these are the facts. You are not the best player in the game. And number two, you are not the MVP of this season.
Yep.
And then I'm going to also say this. Didn't you also come out and they didn't even ask LeBron about Anthony Davis, or he didn't even say he's the reason that what does the MVP mean for me? That I'm playing at a high level. Notice that he continues to say me, myself, and I. There was no mention of Anthony Davis. You don't think at some point Anthony Davis is gonna get tired of that? But like they said, the only way that I see AD sticking around is because he's with Clutch. He's with Clutch Sports. AD would have to totally surprise me to change that. I mean, at this point, I don't care what Anthony Davis does because it's his life. Same thing with LeBron. They could do whatever they want free agency. But this whole thing, this whole MVP, the 35 stands for what? Michael Jeffrey Jordan. NBA championship, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Finals MVP, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. All of this is for, as I've been noticing, the money that the NBA has lost. The fact that Nike put this dude on the map for $90 million when he first came out of high school, drafted to Cleveland. This is all for the recuperation. That's what this all is about. That's what all of it is about. All that money that they invested in this guy with the 3 and 6. Yeah, that's what all this is all about. They're trying to recuperate what they have already lost from his 6 NBA Finals losses. And ladies and gentlemen, not 3 for 6 where you're hitting 500 in baseball, but 3 for 9. All right, and we're gonna end it at that.
Yep. Woo. Richy Rich, man, what's your take on the topic, man? With Giannis Antetokounmpo, the headbutt with Mo Wagner, you still got to measure MVP, and why? And also, is this going to put a sting on him?
I gotta agree with Lewis, man. Lewis went in on that topic. Giannis is the clear-cut MVP, because I was gonna bring up that game. LeBron, the way he probably could have swayed some people was if he was playing phenomenal in this bubble. He hasn't really played really well in this bubble. He hasn't really had good games in this bubble. So he probably could have ran with a narrative like that if he was starting to play. But we know what he's trying to do. He's trying to save himself for the postseason. So he's not gonna really play really hard. to put himself at risk. So Giannis is going to win this award because the numbers, man. He leads the league in per. Anthony Davis is behind him in per. I don't really care about that statistic, but it's a statistic the media analysts they like to put to the front. What a player output of a player is all about, and Giannis is the player that outputs the most. So, and he's playing with a number two that's not consistent. That dude, man, don't really show up, man, when he needs him to show up. He's had so many blunders, and Giannis, he's not where he needs to be as a player. That's the scary thing about it. He's putting up these ridiculous numbers. He's a raw player. He's a player that he relies on his athleticism heavily, but he still manages, ways to put up these ridiculous numbers. So, and still have his team as the number one team in the entire NBA for the second season in a row. With no true number two and a bunch of role players, solid guys. Not scrubs. These guys were solid role players on the other teams that they played on, in their past career. But we've seen these type of teams before. They don't really win the finals. They'll have the best record in the game, like the Atlanta Hawks. When they were led by Joe Johnson. Not saying Joe Johnson is better than Giannis, but because I think Giannis is a better player than him, but I don't think Giannis has enough around him to actually win. But which gives it's another point and why he's the MVP, because he's doing what he's doing, but all those guys around him are shaky players. They have a tendency to not show up when the big games come. They're gonna crumble, when the games matter. And Giannis is we've yet to see what improvement Giannis has made since last season. When the Raptors were able to bottle them up, Kawhi was able to bottle them up, stop him from penetrating. The Raptors were able to create a wall, and not let him, have those drives to the rim. But we're gonna see what Giannis does this season. But I still don't think he's going to win. He probably most likely gonna get to the finals, but he's not gonna. Whoever he sees in the finals, he's gonna lose to. But because I don't think his game has evolved where it needs to be at. But he's the clear-cut MVP. LeBron James is not the MVP of the league because Anthony Davis is the catalyst on that team. He's the guy that is the guy that they ride or die on. LeBron James doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that LeBron James is averaging 10.6 assists a game. How many point guards have we seen average double-digit assists in this league? It's nothing impressive. LeBron has played 17 years in the league, and he's managed. This is his first year averaging 10 assists, over 10 assists in the game. I'm not impressed. He's someone that we've always heard. Oh, he can average a triple-double easy if he wanted to. He's played all these minutes all in his career when he was on Cleveland, when he was in Miami, but yet he wasn't averaging a triple-double. That it's like all these narratives by the media. It doesn't make sense, man. And one thing I gotta say for you, I love this game, sister. Anthony Davis, he signed with Clutch. And he may not want to leave LeBron James because he signed with Clutch and he's with Rich Paul, his agent. But this guy is in the pinnacle of his prime. One thing I notice about these star players, when they're in the pinnacle of their prime, these guys want to be adored. They want adoration. They want to be mentioned. They want the credit. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to be taking that back seat on and on and on. Eventually he's gonna get tired of that. Having when LeBron this is old man Bron here. This man got a foot already out of the league. He got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. This is supposed to be AD's team. This is not supposed to be LeBron's team. This is a guy that's doing the heavy lifting, as we say. Why is he not being mentioned? Why does the media keep putting him to the wayside? And they always talking about LeBron, but yet AD's putting up these numbers. If you don't show up, Lakers don't win. Don't you notice that? When he has a bad game, Lakers don't win. It doesn't matter what LeBron does. LeBron can't play a meaningful game and not have his number two or sidekick not step up for him and expect to win the game. Doesn't matter what LeBron James does. He can't impact the game. If you watch LeBron's game now, he can't impact the game like that anymore, like he used to. He doesn't have those legs, and his numbers are not as meaningful like they used to. I don't care if he's putting up 37-8 or 37-7. If that number two ain't stepping up, LeBron ain't gonna put a dent in that game. That's just how it is. Those Warriors games showed me, and last year showed me too. When the Lakers were two games back behind the A spot, and he was putting up phenomenal numbers, and he was still losing to terrible teams like the New York Knicks, teams that were out of the playoffs, terrible teams that he had no business losing to. He was putting up astronomical numbers, but his numbers don't mean anything because he's never been that type of player. He's been that type of player where he needs the support of his teammates, or a teammate, or his sidekick or his number two to have big time numbers as well. If those guys can't be consistent for him, doesn't matter what LeBron James is going to do. He's not. His numbers are going to be. His numbers are not going to be meaningful in these games. So, AD, man, if he don't step up in this postseason, man, I'm sorry. This guy, you already see it. You already see the narratives that are going to come because you've already started hearing. Guys, the media start picking on AD, saying things. Oh, AD didn't show up in this game. You can already see it. They already starting putting that little. They starting to put that little fire. They starting to put that little fire into the pot. They're trying to stir it up, to where all the blame goes to AD if the Lakers don't come out victorious in this bubble, man. So AD, man, he better gain some sense, because Kyrie Irving done gave him some game. KD done dropped some game for this dude. You got to be your own independent thinker. You can't let these people fool you. You can't let LeBron James fool you. You can't let Rich Paul fool you. In this league, you only have so many years to put a dent, to carve out a legacy of your own. If you allowing these dudes to play to pull the strings on you, play you like Geppetto, you may not be what you want to be in this league, bro. So I honestly think he should have got with Giannis when he was looking at his moves of players that he should have teamed up with, because these players, they on their team up stuff. Why didn't you go team up with Giannis? Giannis is only 25, 26. He's in your age bracket, bro. You and him, they would run rough shot on that league. You guys will be destroying this league for years to come. You gonna go team up with LeBron James at the age of 35. This guy has already 1 foot out of the league. When he's done, which is gonna be soon, he's gonna leave the Laker organization to you. We all know Anthony Davis. He done quit on one organization. This man has shown that, he don't got the backbone to lead the organization, dog. So he's gonna need some star players to go over there. If the Lakers strike out, they don't get no star players. Man, them Lakers fans is ruthless. They're gonna get on AD. And I'm not sure AD's mental makeup can handle that, man. So listen, man, you better be smart. Kyrie Irving already showed that boy don't care. That's one thing I like about Kyrie. That boy, man, he's his own independent thinker, man. He don't care who LeBron is. He gonna do him. KD like that too. He gonna do him. You better do you, bro. You better do you. If you don't want what this guy is here, you better get out of that situation. Because it's a house, it's a burning house ready to fall right on you. That's the type of situation I see AD's in. That house is starting to burn, and he's staying inside. It's eventually the foundation is eventually going to collapse on him if he stays. If it don't work out, the whole foundation going to collapse on him, and he's not going to come out of it.
Yep, I agree, man. Hey, listen, man, y'all going in today, man. This was a hell of a freaking panel, man. We're going to jump into this last topic, man, because this thing is getting serious, bro. Lewis, I know you got some things to do, man, so I'm going to have to start this thing out with you, man. BJ Armstrong, mental one-on-one with Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan, man. The way that he explained that mental one-on-one game at that dinner, the mindset behind it, all of the totality that's associated behind that one-on-one, what that would look like with these guys if they actually sat there and played the game of basketball. I did obviously a long-winded video on it, so I said everything I needed to say on that, but I really want you guys' take on this topic, you know what I'm saying? Because to me, I feel like Kobe Bryant is the closest there is to Michael Jordan. But in the video, I made it very clear, and I talked about the first law of the 48 laws of power: never outshine the master. And Kobe Bryant, on episode 5 of the Last Dance documentary, was very key and instrumental in saying, everything that you see that I got it from him. To me, that was the ultimate humility that I've seen that a true alpha can display, because this is one of the characteristics, contrary to what people think, that true alphas need to have in their tool yard and their tool shed, is humility. Lewis is a very humble dude. Richy Rich is a very humble dude. He knows, I can admit, is learning to become more and more of a humble dude. But these guys are humble cats, nevertheless, and you got to give them that. The bottom line is that's a prerequisite that you have to have in the tool yard and the tool shed. And Kobe Bryant showcased that in a moment that needed to be showcased, because they kept asking him that question. You and Michael Jordan, if you guys played, and see, that's the single greatest difference between a Kobe and a LeBron James. Kobe would not disrespect Michael, because Kobe understands what Michael meant to the game of basketball. Whereas LeBron James will always nitpick, where he was apolitical. I'm political. Don't make me laugh with that, because he's just as apolitical. He's just 27th law of power with it. But it is what it is. He picks and chooses and nitpicks. Donald Trump is easy to pick at. Drew Brees is easy to pick at. Pick at shutting the NBA season down. Pick at BLM movement. Pick at COVID-19. If you pick at those things, then you're picking at something that's radicalized and something revolutionary. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Kobe sat there in that mental one-on-one, and the gist of it, another form of humility was, although they didn't concede to one another, Kobe did come to the conclusion that MJ has those mitts. So because he has those mitts, yeah, I could see how he could catch the basketball. He didn't concede, but he was realistic with how MJ could potentially catch the basketball. Now, if you would ask LeBron James some bullshit like that, I think I can beat anybody one-on-one, man. You know, I think I can handle anybody one-on-one. Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan, you know, he'll just come up with something. But when he does it, then he'll have his whole goons that'll run behind it and say something nevertheless. But that mental one-on-one and them talking about key situational basketball plays and them talking about how they would post each other up, how they would fade away each other, how they would use basketball fundamentals and skills against one another, that is something that would have been of the ages. And to me, if you do 5 games, or you do 5 NBA finals, or you do 5 stretches in a playoff stretch, if I have to pick for all of the marbles and I have to lay down on that bad boy with confidence and fortitude, I'm picking MJ 3-2 versus Kobe Bryant. That's my take on it. Lewis, I want to know what's your take on this mental one-on-one that BJ Armstrong talked about with Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan.
I didn't get to see too much of it, honestly. But what I will say this is that, and I've seen BJ talk in the documentary with Michael Jordan, and I know he's made pieces on Kobe Bryant. BJ Armstrong is a very intelligent guy. Like everybody know this. If you look at the way that he dissects the game, like you could tell that he really knows his basketball in terms of from a tactical standpoint. Because everybody's got to remember, man, that BJ, you know, he got to play in the triangle for quite a long time. So you learn, Tex Winter's offense, and then you're listening to coaching philosophy of Phil Jackson. So you get to learn, basically on how you can be successful in that offense. And basically, it's like how to maximize your talent. So when you learn that, an offense like that, you can see the game through many different angles. It's like there's many different design plays, but the one constant is that you see a triangle. They just come in different variations. So there's many different. So because when I was studying the triangle offense, I saw that I think there's 33 or 34 different plays of the triangle. Like it was crazy. It was mind boggling for me that you could design so many plays just with that. And so basically, like when you're learning all that, it's like that's why they say that the triangle offense is probably the hardest offense to master, because there's different. It's one triangle, but they're in different variations of the court on one half court. So it doesn't matter which side you're on. So when you look at Kobe Bryant, you know, the reason that I have him in high regard is because he was the empty void of Michael Jordan. So when Jordan left, you were looking at who was going to be that next like wing player, because you didn't really look at a big as a person to kind of carry the league. You look at Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. When they came in and saved the league, Bird is a small forward who can play 4, but mostly a 3. Maybe not as athletic, but again, his skill set is what drew you to him. And then also with Magic Johnson, his ability to play make. But the thing with Magic was what's amazing about him was that he was able to pass fundamentally at a flashy level. So he was fundamentally flashy. Like he could pinpoint a pass, even if it's a pass that other point guards probably could not make. There's very few that can do that. But that's why they say that Magic Johnson is the greatest passer of all time, greatest playmaker. There's not a close second, and it's not even close. So with Kobe Bryant, MJ, you don't try to outdo the master, which Kobe Bryant tried to do, because when Kobe came into the league, and I heard stories, they were saying that, you know, Kobe was trying to see what Michael Jordan was all about, which is why he skipped high school. Now, I will say this, that it took Kobe a long time to really understand the game. So, and I'm objective when it comes to Kobe. I'm a person that became humble. Like I was so in love with Kobe. Like I love the way that he played. He reminded me of Michael, that I kind of got a little fanboyish, but it was like, I needed to humble myself, and I really needed to speak to him from an objective level. And that's where I've come like over the years with Kobe. Well, there's moments where I'll defend him in terms of when I do research on like some of the games that he's played, and you know what's the significance of the numbers when I try to do these analytics and stuff. But Kobe tried to outdo the master. And here's the thing with Kobe: the one appreciation that I have with Kobe was the man had no fear, and he tried to outdo the master, because you always have to understand something. Records are meant to be broken, and there's always going to be that someone down the line. You don't know how long it's going to be that is going to become better than the previous predecessor. And that's what Kobe tried to do. Now, he was, I thought that he did as much as he could. He did a good job being part of the league. I mean, it's a reason why a lot of the players hold him in high regard, and they respected him, and saying that Kobe was my Michael. You heard a lot of players say it. Tony Parker said it. A lot of guys said it, that Kobe was their MJ of the era that they played in. That's the high regard that he had and the impact that Kobe Bryant had. Now, you can't do nothing about those MJ mitts. I mean, and there's a reason why MJ was as successful as he was. Kobe even tried to palm the ball like Jordan, but Kobe's hands were smaller than Michael's. Michael's had those big hands. Dr. J had those big hands. It was a reason why they could do so much with their athleticism. It's because the ball control that they had, they can pretty much put the ball anywhere that they want. So that's why at times they would toy with their defenders, because the fact that they had that kind of ball control, it's basically they could pretty much do whatever they want with it. And the athleticism is the icing on the cake. It means I could do whatever it is I can, and you could try to stop it. But because of my good body control, it's like I'm able to direct the ball. That's why MJ is pretty much regarded as the greatest. It's not just the numbers. When you do the eye test and you watch him play in person, you're looking at level of creativity, you're looking at charisma, and the man did that. He was able to do that. You just look at him, and then the thing is, over time, he perfected his craft. Even as he was losing athleticism, he refined his game, and it's like, he's got the beautiful footwork. Look at the pump fake. His fundamentals got more crisp as he got older, when he realized he couldn't rely on his athleticism anymore. And so that's the beauty. And the thing is, if you look at Kobe wasn't physically as blessed. Like Michael came in skinny, but he was able to work to get his body into the way it was. So it helped, to be able to take physical punishment. Kobe wasn't as blessed, so he had to work even much more harder. He wasn't as fast, And the funny thing is, Kobe, to me, he was underrated when it came to his speed. Like, if you look at Froby, if you look at 2000, 2001 Froby, like, he was pretty fast in the open court. Like, yes, he had incredible endurance. It doesn't get talked about enough. But yeah, Kobe tried so hard because even he said it himself. He had to rely a lot on skill. He said he wasn't physically gifted. He wasn't as strong. He wasn't as athletic. I thought Kobe really knew how to use his athleticism that he doesn't get a lot of credit for. That's why I always say he's underratedly athletic, because he knew how to use his athleticism. Like, and he would do a lot of stuff that would just make your jaw drop. And he just gave you that MJ aura in terms of things that he would do. And the thing is, when you look at Kobe, it's a mirror image of what Michael, would do. Only difference is he was efficient, but then not as efficient. And what I mean by that is people forget that Kobe actually played in probably the most difficult defensive era in NBA history. That's mid to late 90s and then going to the mid 2000s. That was he played in a very slow pace. They don't talk about that stuff. Jordan, it was his was more of a transition. He played in a faster pace, and then it transitioned to a more slower pace. But he dominated a big man's game when it was supposed to be favored for the big man. So, but Kobe's game is is definitely beautiful to watch. And look at it this way: Michael Jordan is he's more efficient, but nobody can get hot like a Kobe Bryant. And when you listen to a guy like Kevin Durant, who says, "I study guys like Kobe," he'll even say Kyrie, because Kyrie is one of the most skilled players ever to play this game as well. It's just he's currently playing, but he's one of the most skilled that I've ever seen in his ability to finish at the rim. You're looking at MJ, even a Larry Bird. And to one point, he even thanked Dirk Nowitzki because, again, Dirk was one of those players, who was very tall, but was very skilled at his height when it came to his offensive repertoire. And you look at Michael's offensive repertoire, it was like no other. So what if he's not the greatest three-point shooter? But when he needed to, he could knock down threes if he wanted to. It's just it was not part of his game. And he said that many times. So when I listen to BJ Armstrong, I would take his words probably more than probably other dudes, because he studies the game at a different tactical level. So he sees what a lot of people don't see. A lot of people, they just kind of like talk, out of their ass, and they'll just look at stuff in front and they'll be like, oh, this is the definitive thing. BJ's telling you no. When you really dissect and you discern and you look at the games, you can really see why that Kobe's kind of put in that high regard where it's Michael. Now, was he as efficient? No, he was not as efficient as Michael Jordan. But when you consider the fact that he primarily took jump shots for the latter part of his career, and a lot of them he would take difficult, that was my thing that I always got on Kobe, was I wish that he would learn to be more efficient in terms of when to shoot and when to pass. Like, because it took him a long time to figure that out. And that's why he even says sometimes that he would benefit from college. But going back to your point, he knows the fact that Kobe has said, and then you could tell that Kobe grew as a man because he was maturing through all that time. Like, in his heart, he felt he was better than Michael. He tried to beat Michael. He tried to win more championships. Like, when he tried to do all that. Now, the awards thing, that happened all due to rape trial, because everybody knew he was going to be the next golden boy. And you could see it from when he first came into the NBA. It just, everything went down the drain after that rape case. Everything went down the drain after that. All the endorsements, how some players felt about him in the league, how he was felt by the media, all that. The fact that he was able to rise above that. That's why I always call Kobe a self-made man. And I've said it before. Self-actualization, aka Tupac. Kobe was a Tupac of the NBA, and I always am going to say that. And Kobe found his way to be humble, and he found humility when he said in The Last Dance, when we saw the clip, he says, without Michael Jordan, there is no Kobe Bryant. And that showed me the ultimate respect. And that's, to me, that's Kobe's maturity, where he came from a long way. That's what that told me. So, and that's why I think, and people have to understand, the way Kobe played his career in Los Angeles, you could call them fanboys and fangirls or whatnot. They love to watch him because Kobe was box office. Kobe was an entertainer. And when you listen with guys like Kevin Durant, who came out and said, yo, when Kobe Bryant was being disrespected by the media, when he was injured and he no longer could be that Kobe after the Achilles injury, when he was pretty much done and his body was just done, he didn't have the legs to play consistently and play a lot of minutes. Kevin Durant said, yo, How could you be disrespecting one of our great legends in NBA history? That's when the media turns off. Now, had Kevin Durant or any other player not come out and say that, you think the media was going to stop? No. They were going to go full-fledged thunderstorm on Kobe Bryant until the moment he retired. It was kind of like saying, man, I can't wait for this dude to retire. That's how they were treating him. But then once they did the appreciation tour, everybody was like, wow. Even Kobe's fiercest competitors, even in the hostile environments, they were all showing appreciation for Kobe because they realized that as much as they didn't like him, they looked at the culmination of his career. They're like, man, this dude got heart. And it's like, even the fans of Philly who had hated him for years because he was not a Philadelphia 76er, when he won that All-Star Game MVP, and I remember when he was entering his prime, and they booed the hell out of him, and Kobe was so hurt. He tried to hide it, but he couldn't, because after the game, he started crying. And they gave him a standing ovation because they said, yo, the young man is growing up. And it's like, we've now come into an appreciation. And the media can't stand that. They cannot stand that because they thought that would be the end. So when comparing to I just want to close with this point because I just kind of went on that Kobe story, but it was just, but it just goes to show you that as great as LeBron is, the thing is Kobe's career, it goes beyond the U.S., man. He's had a cultural impact. I was just watching a video the other day. They were showing Kobe in China. Kobe is revered in China, and you would think it'd be Yao Ming. Kobe is probably arguably more revered in China than even Yao Ming is. And if he was still alive and he would have went there, could you imagine the Asian fan base that would come? They would go absolutely crazy, absolutely crazy to see him.
Yep.
And that's the thing that LeBron wants that people are not trying to understand. LeBron is big in America, but he wants that world cult-like following. He wants people around the world to recognize that LeBron is one of the greatest of all time. Now, I know he's one of the greatest, but he's one of the greatest here in America. There's no hate on him, but he wants, because MJ is even big over there. And y'all know MJ, Dream Team, Global Impact, shoes, pop culture, pop icon.
Yep.
You think of the word, when you think of Kobe and Jordan, the word icon is next to that. The word global is next to that. They're global icons. LeBron wants that. That's why LeBron is so insecure in getting people in America to talk about him every single day. Because what Kobe and Jordan have is not what LeBron doesn't. It's what they have is what he doesn't have and what he wants. And that's global impact. He wants to be known as a global icon. And that's what eats LeBron alive. That's why. And the thing is, and I'm going to close with this. This is why, and it's crazy. If you respect Michael Jordan so much, why would you attack him in the media and talking about being apolitical? Now, listen, I got my things with Jordan, and I've said it before that Michael could have spoken out a lot more, and I've said that about that. I've made videos about that because again, I'm objective when it comes to MJ. You gotta show some form of humility. So I'm not showing like complete bias. Michael could have done that. Michael could have spoken out more in his time. And just as I say, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson could have spoke out. Isaiah Thomas could have spoke out. All those guys that were in the league, they could have spoke out. But because Michael is the marketing ploy, they're going to look at him as, because you're the face of the league, you should have been the person that should have been speaking. But so like, and like I said, man, at the very end, this is why that this whole Disney bubble is happening. Disney owns Fox. Disney owns ESPN. That's why they're pushing LeBron to win this title, because the movie Space Jam is coming out pretty soon in a couple of years. LeBron came out with the Space Jam hat. If LeBron is his own guy, why is he doing another Space Jam to be like Michael Jordan? Michael Jordan was the originator. Whether you think the movie sucks or not, my point is, because it was MJ, it was going to be watchable. Now you got a question. Now, if LeBron does all this and he wins, are they going to do the Space Jam just like that, as he's the one that saved, I guess Disney's going to be Planet Disney from the Monstars or whatever the monsters are going to be and whoever's in this, movie. So that's why they're trying to do this, man. At the end of the day, the bottom line is LeBron has a cult, but it's just not as big as Kobe and Jordan. And that's what he is lusting for. That's what he's lusting for, and it eats him alive. And that's why when you see that and the thing is, if you're so cool with Kobe, why is it that you're using a death as a narrative to put yourself in the MVP conversation? Your place should be to doing the talking. You shouldn't be using somebody's death to prop you up for an award. So that just tells you that LeBron's still jealous of those guys, and he's trying to get to where they're at. That reminds me of, I'm gonna close it out because I've been talking, but
Nah, go ahead, man.
But it reminds me of that episode that I watched on Dragon Ball Z. Vegeta's trying to get to that Super Saiyan level, and Trunks had just came from the future. And Trunks told Goku we're both going to be Super Saiyans, and he told them about the future. And then Vegeta has this dream. He sees Goku and Trunks. They both turn into Super Saiyans. He's trying to reach up to them, and then they just fade away. He thinks he gets closer, and they just fades away. And they just fade away, trying to say that as good as you are, you're not going to reach at what their level is at. Kobe personally kind of reminds me of that Vegeta character because he has to work so hard to get where he's at. But I'm just saying, in comparison to LeBron James, and we're just talking about global impact, and we're talking about just icons and the respect that Michael has gotten from Kobe, because Kobe was relentless. That's how he came. That's how Michael, at times, he got tired of it. But the thing is, he ended up loving it because he ended up respecting him, because Kobe was not in awe of MJ like LeBron is with MJ. LeBron's still looking for validation. Kobe says, I'm going to come at you. That's what Michael respects about Kobe so much, and that's why Michael says he's a little brother. Kobe came at him. So at the end of the day, if LeBron had came at Michael Jordan in terms of like as a respect, like just giving him respect and not being in such awe and being fanboy of Michael Jordan looking for validation, LeBron James would be more respected by Michael. He would be more respected by MJ, but even MJ knows. Because Shannon Sharp and him kind of have that same mentality. If I'm not getting validation, if, hey, look at me, notice me, that's the problem. And I'm closing it with that, man.
Yep. Richy Rich, right before you say something, because Lewis buffered some ideas in my head, I'm just going to say something real quick, man. Here's the thing that people got to understand. When you look at Michael Jordan and you look at Kobe Bryant, and Lewis just brought those ideas out, because I was like, man, I figure I'll just drop some of the things I said in that video. The single greatest difference between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant is this. Jordan always opted for the highest percentage shot. Kobe has one weakness. The weakness that Kobe Bryant has is Kobe Bryant gets so caught up in Kobe. And we've seen this play out. We saw this play out in the Detroit Pistons NBA Finals. We saw this play out in the Boston Celtics Finals. When Kobe gets too enamored with Kobe, it's an issue. See, Michael Jordan can be so enamored with Michael Jordan, but because Michael Jordan had that college experience, that was the single common denominator that always helped him to it's like a rebuffer in his mind. But if Jordan did not have the college experience, he would be doing the same nonsense that Kobe Bryant was doing. And Jordan almost fell into that, because you guys remember those Doug Collins years before Phil Jackson came. Jordan was getting on a tendency of losing that whole college mindset of playing team basketball, and was like, hey, it's me, get the hell out of my way, I'm going to dominate. So there's not really that much of a difference, but the difference is that college experience always plays a role because of the fundamental aspect of always taking the highest percentage shot and playing basketball the easiest way. Kobe Bryant doesn't always play basketball the easiest way. And that is what caused Kobe Bryant to get in the positions and the predicaments that he's got into. But if Kobe would have went to college and he would have got that foundation, this conversation we having right now would have been a completely different conversation. Because now he would have had the prerequisites and he would have had the tools that he would have needed so that this conversation would have been different. Because Kobe Bryant is actually a smarter individual than Michael Jordan. The issue is Kobe Bryant on the basketball court, and that's what Lewis was talking about when he was saying being objective. Kobe Bryant didn't always use those smarts in the most opportune moments. There were times where Phil Jackson would get on Kobe. It was like, why are you taking that play? Why would you just, why don't you play within more on the floor of the system of the offense? Jordan listened more. And because Jordan listened more, it translated to more wins. That's the difference between the both of them. Kobe rebelled more because Kobe just felt he had to prove more. And it goes back to what he was talking about with that Vegeta complex. Kobe just felt that he had to rebel. And his rebellion gained him a lot of success, but it also gained him a lot of failures. Because, when you're rebellious to something, you're going to fail more because of the fact that you're just rebellious. So there's going to be more failure that's going to happen. But there's also going to be a high success ratio in that if you're a person that can generate it into success. And that's what Kobe Bryant was. But the reason why I say you can't outshine the masters because Kobe learned from Jordan. It's not the other way around. Jordan didn't know who Kobe Bryant was. Kobe knew who Jordan was. You see what I'm saying? And Kobe studied from Jordan. And Kobe was the one calling Jordan. And Kobe was the one that was bugging Jordan. Jordan said in the funeral. Kobe was the one that was annoying Jordan. So those factors tell you that because Jordan is the originator and Kobe Bryant is the one that came behind him, you have to give the slight edge to MJ. Because if you're the one that's seeking out from me, then that means that I'm technically better. Because you're seeking from me. You see what I'm saying? So that's what that whole situation was with Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Because me, I have to be cold-hearted, I have to be unadulterated, and I have to be cutthroat and most visceral with this truth. I love Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant is a guy that has the prerequisites and the skills to really beat up Jordan in a basketball game efficiently and beat Jordan up a lot. But he's not going to win the lion's share because of that difference in their dichotomy. Jordan is more dynamic in situational basketball. He knows when the game is on the line, he is going to be the most cold-blooded assassin. This is why he has absolution. This is why he has a perfect NBA Finals record, because Jordan's fearless attitude, his mindset, his log on the fire mindset would just not allow him to lose. And it was just the highest form of competition. Kobe Bryant came so close to that level, but he just wasn't at the same level. And I have to just be real with that. So when we look at their NBA career and we look at what they put up, Jordan's 6'6" for a reason. Kobe's 5'7" for a reason. And the reason for that is because at the highest levels, it's all about what they did and how their basketball psychology and their mindset operated. If Kobe was more of a higher percentage shot taker, he would have been undefeated as an NBA Finals average performer. But because he's not, that didn't happen in his favor. So that's the fundamental difference between Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Richy Rich, go ahead and say what you got to say.
Yeah, I just keep reading these comments. This clown 480 is putting in the chat. Man, wow. Okay, let's get on with the topic. I didn't know what you were talking about when you brought up B.J. Armstrong having that dinner.
Hold on,
with
let me just say this. Let me just say this real quick.
Kobe
Tyrone
Bryant,
Spencer
so
asked me, "How could you say that about Kobe? I don't like him, but Kobe was a winner." Was that me that you were addressing, Tyrone Spencer, or was you addressing someone in the chat? Okay, he was addressing someone in the chat. Go ahead, Richy Rich.
Yeah. Yeah, BJ was just breaking down pretty much like they were discussing how they would, any one of them had the ball at the end in the final shot of a game between them one-on-one, how would they approach it? And he was basically going into detail. He was basically taking it all in. He was quiet throughout their what they were discussing in between Kobe and Jordan on how, you know, either one would go at each other on one-on-one if they had the last shot to decide the game. And Kobe Bryant, you know, they both came to the realization that you know, Jordan had the bigger hands. So, you know, Jordan would have the advantage, but Kobe, you know, he wasn't stopping there because Kobe is the ultimate is another competitor at a high level. And, you know, BJ, he was just in awe because he was, you know, these are two, you know, you could basically say these guys are the two greatest players in the game because you see how many championships these guys have combined, a total of 11 championships. And their style has worked, man. You know what I'm saying? You could say, you know, that their style of playing, you know, that alpha mentality style where, you know, that they want to carry their team, their teammates on their backs is a style that's you know, can be you know, toxic to a team, but when they were doing it, it wasn't toxic. These guys actually won on the highest level, and they won on the highest level the majority of the time. So it's them. You know, some guys try to, you know, duplicate their style, but they can't duplicate it like they did. It's them. It's their mental makeup to the game. And BJ was just, taking it all in. He was saying that, okay, these guys, how they're able to draw in their heads and in their mental, and how they're gonna approach, how MJ is gonna go at Kobe, or Kobe is gonna go at MJ. How they were able to do it in such a thought, provoking way, or like an eloquent way, and how they were breaking down how they were gonna go at each other. It just shows you how great these players are, man, and how because Kobe, man, these guys, like how D Wade said, these guys have mastered the game from a guard position. They know everything. They have no flaws. They have no weaknesses in their games offensively. And they were two-way players. They know it all. Kobe, Jordan, they had the footwork. I'm looking at these guards in the NBA, man. Nobody got footwork like MJ or Kobe, man. Like these guys, they were flashy players, man, but they made the game so beautiful to watch, man. Because the pump fakes, the footwork, the stutter steps, the triple threat moves, man. Like they had everything in their arsenal, man. And you could see why these guys were able to win at the level that they want, man. Because I'm like, man, some of the stuff Kobe done did, man. Especially when Shaq decided that he didn't want to be with the Lakers no more. When Mitch decided he wanted to choose Kobe over Shaq. When Kobe was playing with those role players that he had, Smush Parker, Chris Mims, Kwame Brown, it wasn't a very good team. But that stuff Kobe would be pulling off night to night, man. Some of the best individual basketball I've seen from a player, man. The stuff this man was put, you guys gotta go watch it, man. Y'all dudes be disrespecting Kobe, man. It don't make no sense, man. The beauty, the footwork, the type of stuff this man was doing on the court. When he dropped 62 points in 3 quarters, when he outscored the Dallas Mavericks, I was like, man, this guy is playing some of the best basketball individually. The 81-point game, man. The stuff this man was, you could really see this man master the game, man. And Kobe's not just doing this stuff on dunks. He's doing this stuff on shots, man. Finding ways to get some separation. Just the slight bit of separation. Giving Kobe the slight bit of separation. He's gonna hit that jump. He knows how to create separation. You see how there's like how they do nowadays when they're dribbling, they're trying to cross over their guy just to get separation. And they could never get separation because they don't know how to create separation without dribbling, without putting a crossover move, without doing a fake move. These guys know how to create separation without dribbling, man. They mastered the game. You just look at all the nuances of their game, and you see how great they were. And from that position, how they were able to just, be the it factor on the court, man. It's just, I can see why BJ would break down like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I looked at it like briefly, and I read what BJ was talking about. I was like, yeah, I could be there. I wish I was a fly on that wall listening to what they were talking about, but I could envision myself being there, BJ's place, and seeing what Michael Jordan and Kobe were talking about, and seeing how they would break down the game at a high level. Like these guys had no weaknesses. They probably had 3 or 4 moves, 5 or 4 moves. They had counter moves. If the defense do this, they're gonna be able to counter this way or counter that way. You look at the guards now, man. They can't do that, man. They don't got that. They don't got those repertoires in their game. They don't got footwork in their game. I mean, you look at Paul Pierce. Paul Pierce is another dude, very crafty dude. He had phenomenal footwork, but his footwork was not on Kobe's level or Jordan's level. I'm looking at these dudes. None of these dudes got footwork like those guys, man. Who in the NBA does stuff like MJ or Kobe? Who can turn around like without double dribbling, without having these referees call it travel, shift their feet, moving their pivot.
Richy Rich. It's one guy now. He's injured. It's one guy.
It's
Let's not.
Durant, but I don't see Kevin Durant do stuff as beautiful as Kobe or Jordan, man, on the court. It's just so like Kevin Durant, he really don't got to do that because all he got to do is get that shot up, and it's going in. He don't really got. That's why Kevin Durant, like his game is like a lot more effortless because the game to where
we all can agree. Me, you, and Lewis was like, we were looking at each other right before Kevin Durant got hurt. We were looking at each other like, this run this guy was on. He had Stephen Curry. This is when I knew Kevin Durant was on another level. We were talking about this way long time ago last year live. You remember this, Lewis? You remember this, Richy Rich? We was talking about how Stephen Curry was sitting there like a damn fan watching Kevin Durant operate on a basketball court. They got to a point to where the Golden State Warriors was just watching this dude operate. That's how you could tell he was starting to master the game. When you have your peers, especially peers that are considered top-level basketball players, watch you like a groupie, yeah, you mastered the game of basketball. But I just wanted to say that real quick. But go ahead. Just saying what you were saying about AJ Kobe.
The thing that makes Durant so unique is because, yeah, we've seen players like his size before. We've seen a player like Dirk Nowitzki. We've seen a player like, Tony Kukoc. These guys that are 6'10" and tall, 6'10" and taller, be able to put the ball in the Lamar Odoms, but they're not as dominant as Kevin Durant. They don't get buckets like this, man. They don't put the ball on the floor like him. He's a special, unique player because this guy could fill it up, man. And he could play like a guard. He's a guard that's 6'11". But he's so efficient, man. He could take a minimal amount of shots, but still be a 50, 40, 90 player. This is why Kevin Durant showed he was so special. Was because he played with Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. Those guys still averaged about the same amount of shots that they averaged before playing with Kevin Durant. But Kevin Durant still managed to be a 50, 40, 90 player, man, doing it on less shots. That's what's so special about Kevin Durant, man. Because there's some players, man, they're rhythm players. If they got to share shots with other guys, their numbers may not be as efficient, man. They may have to shoot more. You know what I'm saying? They may have to, take more attempts at the rim to keep their field goal percentages high. But Kevin Durant, he was doing this mainly off jump shots, man. And you would expect his field goal percentage to fall a little because now he has to share shots with those guys. And they're going to take their shots. Now, Stephen Curry especially, and Klay, they're going to take their shots. He still was a 50, 40, 90 player. This is what NBA, man, it's so black. Why wasn't this guy an MVP? I don't get it. But when LeBron teams up with Wade and Bosh, he could be the MVP. Still, when he teams up with those guys. But I don't get it. But back to topic, man. With Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant, it just shows you like their body of work, man, was different than other players. These guys had a different approach to the game, man. These guys wanted to win. They wanted to be the best, but they wanted to win. Winning to them meant something, man. It was very endearing to them. Winning. This is what you know what I'm saying? And BJ, he was able to see that, man, how these guys were able to break down like the game, man. And this is why Jordan took a liking to Kobe, and he wanted to be the best brother that he could be to Kobe Bryant because he saw a guy that had the same approach of the game like he did. When Kobe came in, man, he came in as that young brash kid, man, that wanted to challenge Mike. T-Mac could tell you, he'd be talking about how Kobe was like, man, listen, man, I could beat Mike right now. Kobe was 18 years old. Listen, I could beat Mike right now. I could beat Jordan right now. And T-Mac was looking at this man like, what? Like, seriously? Yeah, T-Mac could tell you, man. Kobe was like, hey, Michael Jordan is great, but me, I'm trying to be the greatest. And he knows, like, who is this dude, man? Fucking this stuff, man. MJ gonna get him, MJ gonna last this young boy up. But then Kobe had that game, man, where he dropped 34 points, 35 on Mike. We was like, man, this kid, man,
36. He dropped 32 and 36 on MJ.
Yeah, 36 points. And we was like, okay, yeah, this kid showing something, man. Who is this kid? We didn't really take a liking to Kobe at first, but you know, at some point, man, you had to, you had to respect this dude's game, man, because you knew he was gonna put a mark on this league, and that's what he did, man. And when Jordan left the league, man, he left the league in good hands. And Kobe had a great career, man. He had a phenomenal career. Did great things. Left a legacy. He's in Laker lore. It's sad that he's no longer with us, but these guys, man, would have pissed at their position, hands down. And they're up there at the greatest of the greatest, in my book, because of not only because of their approach to the game, but just the body of work, man. What these guys were able to do, like they could just break you down. They got so many moves, so many counter moves, and it's not bad. Like, listen, Kevin Durant, he plays a certain way where he don't really play. Things come a little easier to him. I'm assuming it's because it's the height and because he can put the ball on the floor. But these guys, man, 6'6", they have guys taller than them that could guard them. And they would need those counter moves. And you could see it. You could see it in those games, man, with Jordan and Kobe, man, those counter moves. You're like, man, how is MJ doing this? Like, when Kobe would pump fake and then he would spin and he still wouldn't move the pivot. You like, how Kobe didn't move that pivot doing that? Man, it's the craft, man. It's the body of work. It's the countless practicing, preparation, man. This is what these guys were all about. These were some of the best practice players ever graced the game. Jordan and Kobe, the best practice players in the game of basketball. These guys, when they're in practice, man, they don't waste their time, man. They are seriously working on their craft, and their amount of championships show it. It's proof. It's proof. The winning shows it. I'm done with that topic.
That's it, man. Y'all, man. Y'all killed that shit, man. Listen, man, Lewis, Richy Rich, man, as always, man, appreciate you brothers for coming in and killing it, man. But Lewis, we're gonna have you close this thing out, brother.
All right, guys. Once again, salute to Richy Rich, salute to HeKnowsHisSport. Once again, thank you guys for having me. I know I wasn't there last week and kind of replied late, but you guys made as always, man, tremendous points. I appreciate you having me on this platform. You guys were awesome. Again, whether we agree or disagree in the chat, and I had to kind of chime in my last couple of comments right there, man. But salute to everybody as always. And like I said, man, the whole point when I make the comments that I make is because I understand the game and I'm watching these players. The thing is, I don't listen to what the media tells you, man. Okay? I don't listen to what the media tells you. It's about the eye test. What are my eyes telling me? And again, you got to do your research. That's the problem. When a lot of these guys come with this whole thing of, it doesn't matter if it's any player, if it's Damian Lillard, like somebody could tell me Damian's the most clutch player of all time. And I could say, yeah, that looks great in the regular season. But then I look at his playoffs and I'm like, wait, but he's been outplayed by a lot of point guards. That's how you know you're studying the game, because it's, again, what you see from a totality body of work. When I'm studying these players, it's a totality body of work. That's why when I see some of these answers, I'm just like, that's why I even have to come in and say these points. And I'm like, listen, I get that you like a certain player and you want to get on another player because you don't like them so much and all that. But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, this is why HeKnows came back and said about the humility part. It's like I've learned over my time to be more objective and try to study these players. Yep. With LeBron, like I said, look, I don't hate the guy. It's like, again, what I just don't like is his cult-like following in the media. That's it. Everything that I call out about LeBron is about the media. Yep. And like I said, when it comes to him and his interviews, he just contradicts himself every single time. And I got the receipts. That's all it is. When it comes to basketball, he's one of the greatest of all time. I've said this a million times. It's like it's even come to the fan base when people have come and said, well, LeBron is the greatest. It's like you'll have an issue if I say top 10, but not top 5, top 3, top 2, or even the greatest. Like, lists are subjective. It's where you have them is where what matters. But again, you just got to have an open mind.
GOAT. They want you to say GOAT, Louis. GOAT, James.
Shit, and that's what I'm saying. And that, listen, when am I? I'm never gonna say talking about they get Jor Goat or Co Goat. That don't even. Listen, does that even sound right? Like, no. And there's a reason that Jordan got his name Air Jordan. There's a reason that he got his name MJ, his airness. Kobe Bryant, Vino, the Black Mamba. Like, there's a reason. Number 8, number 24. There's a reason why they got their nicknames. And I said this before, man. For some reason, it's like LeBron is the only player that you can make fun of his name, taking 2 letters out of his name and connect it with just about any word. It's crazy. And again, I try to give LeBron his respect, man. And I've done it before, but it's like, yo, but you want me to say, oh, LeGoat. I'm not calling no grown man LeGoat. I've heard. Listen, man, I've heard older dudes on YouTube calling him LeGoat, and I said, yo, once I hear that should tell me a lot about you. And people saying, oh yeah, I've studied the game for a long time, and he's like, oh, he's LeGoat, go, nah, stop, man. Stop. Listen, man, again, salute to Richy Rich, salute to HeKnowsHisSport. Once again, happy belated birthday, Richy Rich, man. And like I said, man, the reason that I speak the way that I do, man, is again, it's about objectivity, and it's like you really got to study the game. Once you come with the casual comments, there's no rebuttal for that. And the thing is, a lot of times I don't even pay attention to that, man. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I saw that. Oh, Asante L, yeah, I saw that. But once again, man, salute to everybody. Hope everybody has a wonderful day and a wonderful week, man. Stay safe again. Yo, make sure y'all practice that social distances, and I always do. One thing I do now, man, is I work out, man. So I work out every single day, go to the park, get my workout in. I feel healthy, lucky to be alive, and just continue to put in that work, man. And so, yo, just keep that abundance mindset, man. And that's what I mean by Mamba mentality. It's not, it's a lifestyle, man. And just stay hungry, stay motivated, man. That's how it is. True hungry people, man, are always going to keep learning because you always learn something new every day. That's the point, man. That's what it's about. You can never be too old to learn something, man. You can never be too old to learn something, man. That's all it's about. So, yo, when you do your research, man, it's about study, and learn. That's how you're gonna get better. And when you do these debates, when you just say, "Oh, look, go James," that doesn't tell me anything, man. That doesn't tell me. That just tells me fanboy. That's LeBron Tart alert, and that's like, and I just right there, I can't have a basketball conversation with you right there, man. All right, man. So take care, guys, man. Wonderful stream.
Man, Richy Rich, close us out, man.
Yeah, this was a great stream, man. You guys did your thing. Louis went in, man. NBA basketball encyclopedia, as he knows calls you, man. Really went in on the topics that we discussed today. He knows. Thank you for the platform. Laying down the groundwork so we could, discuss basketball and give our opinions, man, to out there so people could hear what we got to say, man. Appreciate that again. Appreciate the chat for chiming in, giving their thoughts, their viewpoints on what we're discussing. It was a great chat, man. We went into a lot of topics where, they were pretty good topics, and we laid it down and we went into detail what we had to say, especially the Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and given their difference between what LeBron is all about. I really like when we delve into those topics. We got to remind people, man, what the mental makeup of those guys are, and what the mental makeup of what a LeBron is, and what a guy from his era is all about. So we got to let these people know what it is, man, because there's too many casuals out here, man. This era, man, I don't know, man, what they're on, but they need like they need like a history lesson. That's what they need, because they're way off skelter. That's all I got to say about them. But I appreciate, man, for you having me on. Glad that I was able to see another year of life this year. It was my birthday on this past Monday, so I'm grateful
Salute.
for that. I'm grateful to the Lord for that. And I hope to grow, learn new things. Be more insightful on things. Be more appreciative of life. Because people are out there suffering. If you're not going through, you're not suffering. You have your life, you have your health. Be grateful. You're living in a situation that's comfortable. Be grateful, because not everybody, has it as good as you. There's people that are out in this world, man, that are struggling. So I'm grateful every day because I'm not in that situation, but I'm thinking of those people every day. But let's just be safe out there, as Lewis said. The virus is still going on. Uh, Hopefully, we can have another good show next time around, and more topics are going to come. Especially with the bubble, the regular season games ending, and the
Mhm.
postseason. Postseason's going to be starting next week, so things are gonna get fired, man. Like that heat and that fire, like he knows that. Hey, postseason, so it's gonna get a little more interesting, man. The shows are gonna get a little more interesting. The topics are gonna get a little more interesting. So I'm looking forward
Mhm.
to that. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Be safe, and I look forward to seeing you guys again on the next show.
Damn Skippy. Hey, even LeBron toys got to admit, man. See right there, this is ultimate validation. Lewis dropped in there in the last second, dropped those napalms, and look what happened. This is what you do to LeBron toys. You make them bend the proverbial knee. True content was, bro. I admit. I'll say props for that, bro. That's just the way it is. You got to bend the damn knee, man, because we telling you guys the truth. And Lewis made an emphatic point. I got to give that brother credit for what he just said because it went over a lot of people's heads. You got to always be learning each and every single day, man. Lewis, since you on that wavelength, I'm going to give you this one, bro. Bill Gates always says, when they ask Bill Gates, what superpower do you want? I thought he would have said, man, I want to be Superman. I want to be, you know what I'm saying, Thor. I want to be the Incredible Hulk. He said, I want the ability for me to read faster. I was blown away by that. I was like, what? He said, I want the ability to be able to read faster because he wants to be able to gain more information, gain more knowledge so that he can be able to manipulate it. This is what people do at the highest levels, man. They're always studying, they're always sharpening their tool yard, and they always sharpening their tool shed, and iron sharpens iron. So I'm glad that Lewis brought that point up, and that was an emphatic point. We gave you guys a great live, man. You know what I'm saying? Because every time these personalities show up in the building, we do our thing. Me and Lewis, we're fundamentally different in the way we go about things, but we are equally as cutthroat. It's like a two-edged sword, man. It's skinning the cat differently. You know what I'm saying? So he skins it from a encyclopedia fashion. I skin it from a keep the foot on the next fashion. But nevertheless, when we get together, we skinning the cat. So this is what you got to understand. Los Valley or 480 or whoever, when you're dealing with people on the panel, they also in the chat too now. So if they see a comment where they got to go in there and drop a quick Nas ether bomb on you and get you right, it's going to happen, and they're going to drop it. And that's what he did. He went in there and said, okay, time to drop the napalm, time to get these boys to act correct, it's time to get the LeBron tards, time to get the LeBron tard moisture out of the air and dry it all up. Let me drop these comments so that it can get these guys going. That's what he did. Richy Rich, man, salute to you. Happy belated birthday to you, brother. You know what I'm saying? You're doing your thing. You know what I'm saying? I hope, this year brings a great year for you. It's in COVID-19, but it is what it is. The fact that you got to see another year, salutes to you on that. Lewis, I see the work, man. When you say you was working out, I have peeped that stuff a few weeks back because you could tell a change in a person. Once they start transforming, you could just tell, okay, this dude, he putting in the work. He putting that work in the gym, man. That dude transforming on me, man. He's transforming. So I see that. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, man. Put the work in, y'all, because that's what the abundance mindset is about, man. Being a better version of yourself on all levels, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, holistically. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Lewis Sports Network's channel, man. comment, like, and share. That brother is a deep brother, man. I'm always going to respect this brother. Anytime he comes to the platform, I'm always going to respect him. That's a peer of mine. I like that brother's content. He's putting in work. He's dropping them live streams like nobody's business. He's dropping them like hot potatoes, but he's also covering other sports, and he's also dropping other videos on top of that. Those that are not content creators don't understand what that's all about. Trust me, I understand what that's all about. And when you're in that zone and you're putting in that level of work, salute to you on that, man. Because people don't understand the level of dedication it takes to do that on a consistent and to give your core fan base what they continuously need. Even when days you don't feel like you want to do it, even when days you don't feel like you want to get up and do it, the fact that you get up and you do it, that's the satisfaction in that. So I got to give you credit for the consistency, the authenticity, and just subscribe to that brother's channel. That brother's a deep brother. He's an encyclopedia waiting to happen. He dropped some gems. He dropped some jewels on you guys. It was also for me as well, too. So I appreciate it. Richy Rich, thank you for coming in the middle and doing your thing, dropping the napalm, that Nas, that ether, that shit that make your soul burn slow, man. Listen, man, make sure you guys donate to the platform, man. Subscribe to HeKnowsHisSport's platform, man. I'm bringing you guys that heat and that fire, and I'm keeping the foot on the what on the next. And see, guys like Lewis, you know what I'm saying? Guys like Richy Rich, they motivate He Knows too. Because for a while, I kind of was still doing my thing, but it wasn't as, the volume wasn't there. But watching these guys and watching how these guys work, because I have that log on the fire, it re-brought that log on the fire for me to have to re-bring out the work so that you guys can get that as well too. Because that's the thing. When iron is sharpening iron, you want to consistently put content out that's going to get you guys going. So we're back on active rotation. You guys are going to be seeing multiple live streams, b-ball wise, multiple live streams, basketball wise. But man, trust and believe this pairing, you guys will see it again in the future. Make sure you guys go to Lewis's live stream after this one, because I know he's probably got a game going on. But again, make sure you guys donate to this platform. You know what I'm saying? The Cash App is up. The Super Chat is up. We gave you guys a great live stream. So, you know, when a man works, he shall eat. And when a man puts out good content, you guys got to give him the fruits of his labors, man. You guys have a great Wednesday. You guys enjoy yourselves. Thank you, Lewis, for your appreciation and your efforts and your contributions. Richy Rich, appreciate your efforts, your appreciation, your contributions. You guys be easy. Y'all take care of yourself and have a great Wednesday. Peace.